Welcome in, Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
HUDRadio.com. We're live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, like we are every Wednesday night. BMW Atlantic City, right off exit 37 in the Parkway. Find them online, BMW of Atlantic City.com. Every Wednesday night, we're brought to you by our certified public accountant. Make them yours, Gibson Mayer LLC. You can find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com. Tom Renner, Michael Mataraki, Sean Redd, and Rob Povey on the ones and twos. We'll be talking a lot of different things. I love my computer freezes, just like out of nowhere. I just want to show the people this shit. Like mid-freeze. We're mid-freezing. Gotta love a good freeze. So we'll be talking a lot of things Eagles related, Eagles
Absolutely.
draft, grading the draft. We'll be running through that. We'll talk about Mike's time in L.A. He got his bucket list.
Bucket list,
Check.
absolutely.
Little check mark on the bucket / list.
I got a lot on Dodgers fans and Dodger Stadium, too. That's going to be fun.
Oh, I can only imagine. So we'll talk about his time out in L.A., going to Dodger Stadium, seeing the Phils play. We'll have Sean breakdown of the Eagles picks. We'll talk about my experience and our producer Rob Povey's experience at the NFL draft and the NFL experience and what we were able to get done down there and just how Philly rocked it out. And really, it was a turnout, man. And it almost felt similar-ish to 08. Like a little similar without Burrow and a Clydesdale. Things were real similar to 08.
I gotta tell you, it was really one of the cool things was being out on the West Coast with people knowing that you're from Philly and watching the draft at various events and stuff like that I had out there on Thursday night, and people just saying to you, like, oh, my God, like, Philly just looks like it's off the hook right now. And, I mean, complete 180 from the way that we're typically represented on the national stage.
I did say I'd throw a battery if we didn't get Reuben Foster, but that's fine. That's semantics. Just semantics.
That's another story for another time. But, yeah, I mean, it was just the feedback. And seeing it on TV, like, there was definitely a little part of me that wishes I was there instead of out on the West Coast.
Yeah, well, guess what?
Very little part.
Very little. I'd rather be on the West Coast. So this is what we got for tonight. This is what we're rocking. Racism in sports, and that's touching on the crumbs that are some of these Boston Red Sox fans and what Adam Jones had to deal with in Boston the other night with racial slurs, throwing things on the field. We'll get into that later on in the show. Like I said, Mike's trip to Dodger Stadium for the Phils. We'll talk some Phillies tonight. The series going on against the Cubs. And I want to talk, if we have time, I just want to talk about the schedule makers in baseball. What are you doing? Like, if you're going out to L.A., you're hitting 4 spots out there. You're not going to L.A. and coming back to Chicago. Can Major League Baseball get a fucking grip, please? Like, that's not how this works. You're coming from the East Coast. You don't go from the East Coast out there unless you're hitting all the spots. So now, you got to go back out again?
Well, you
got to go back out again?
Back in the day, it used to be a 9-game road trip.
Yeah.
You'd go San Francisco, L.A., San Diego. Now it's like they send you out.
It's like 15 now, usually.
Well, they send you out to either one or two of the West Coast spots, and then you hit someone on the way back.
You hit maybe Chicago on the way back. Yeah. Or a lot of times it's Arizona you hit.
Yeah.
As you're getaway day, you're usually in Arizona, somewhere like that where it's not as far of a trip.
But how hard is it to go San Francisco, L.A., and San Diego on one trip, Colorado and Arizona on another trip, and you're good. You're good.
You call it a night. Yeah. I just don't understand that. Like, when I was telling guys on the show Sunday, on Agree Disagree, they're like, wait, we're going to Chicago? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to Chicago tomorrow. And they're like, no, what? We usually hit these spots when we're out there. I said, I don't know. I'm just a guy. I'm not the schedule maker. We'll talk, like I said, we'll talk about my experience and whole A2D Cruise experience down at the NFL draft. Big Reds player profile with the Eagles, but our main subject at hand is it's all about Eagles Nation tonight.
Yeah, it is.
And it's Eagles draft analysis and grades, and we want to know what grade did the Philadelphia Eagles get in the 2017 NFL draft? Let us know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, A2D Radio is where you can find us. A, B, C, D, and Mike had lower, and I just said, you know what? Let's just throw the F in here. Let's throw the F bomb in here, and then we'll just F it. And if you think it's an F, please let us know.
Put it this way.
If you think it's an A, please let me know. If this is an A to anybody, I think you're drinking Howie's Kool-Aid a little too much.
If any Eagles fan out there gave this draft a D or an F, they're crumbs.
They're idiots.
They're crumbs.
They're idiots too. I'm more. I mean, I'll just get the ball rolling. I think it's a solid B on paper. Okay, solid B on paper because you can sell me. Sidney Jones is a great pick. Do not get me wrong, but you don't know how he's going to rebound from an Achilles. This isn't an ACL, an MCL. This is an Achilles. That's a tough injury to come back from, especially when you're a corner. Great value where you got him, but it's only value if it plays out.
Well,
because you did spend a second-round pick on not a project by any stretch, but an injury
But
and a big one.
Here's the thing, Tommy. When we were here 2 weeks ago, we had identified more or less 3 guys, maybe 4, that the Birds had targeted in the first round. We were looking one of the running backs, either Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey, Reuben Foster, and Derek Barnett. So they got one of the guys that we identified, so kudos to us. But at the same time, one of the scenarios that I threw out there was trade down in the first round, pick up an extra second rounder, and use that extra second rounder on Sidney Jones. What the Birds did here is they probably went a little too high on the Barnett pick, because I feel like if they trade down in the first round, if Barnett's the guy they want, they can trade down in the first round, still get Barnett, have a better option in round 2, and then come back with their second pick in round 2 and use that for Sidney Jones.
Yeah, I don't completely disagree with that at all.
Yeah, no, I get where you guys come from. That would have been awesome. I was not happy with the Barnett pick tonight. Thursday night, sitting there watching it, I was not happy with it, especially with Foster and then Jonathan Allen falling to you as well.
We want to loot it. Yeah, it was simple.
But it's now almost been a week since I watched.
Process.
I went back and watched a lot of Barnett. I was like, maybe I'm not seeing it. I still don't really see it, but the guy did break Reggie White's sack record. But then, like, a lot of people I talked to said that some people view him. They said he's the best pass rusher in the draft. Said he's going to have a better career than Myles Garrett that will have when it comes to getting to the quarterback. But then other people say that he's just not fast enough to play at the NFL level. So it's going to remain to be seen. But a week now went by. I'm okay with the pick, and then I'm going to break Tom's heart because he said if you give this an A, you're drinking Howie's Kool-Aid. I'm the biggest Howie hater, but I don't think you could give this any less than a B-plus draft as an overall.
Well, that's kind of where I am. I'm at about a B-plus.
Any less? Hold the hell on. This guy's done nothing. This guy's done here. Hold on.
You don't look at me. You look at him.
This guy's done nothing in his tenure to say this deserves nothing less than a B+. Because we don't know for 2 or 3 years. It's all speculation.
No,
That's what we're here to
100%,
do.
yeah.
You know, I don't know. You don't know.
Let me ask
Mike
you,
doesn't know. We try to know. We want to know. But
are you basing that on the fact that their 3rd and 4th round picks, to me, they knocked them out of the park?
I'm basing it on the fact that I think you got the best corner in this draft in the 2nd round, barring he comes back healthy, is Sidney Jones.
That's a big one.
And Rasul Douglas, your 3rd round pick, is a day 1 starter.
Agreed.
Listen, that's fine. Listen, it's all well and good. But I look over. Listen, it's a body of work to me. And when I got to grade you on a body of work, I got to look back at what you've done in the past. And for anybody, when you use a first-round pick on a DN, when not only did you draft one, 3 drafts ago at this point, you spent a boatload of goddamn money on one not only 10 months ago. You spent a ton of money on Vinny Curry. Too much, okay? So now what you're telling everybody out there is, 1, I can't evaluate DNs, and 2, I'm going to now make up for my mistakes with the 11th pick overall.
See, I will say this. That's one thing I will say. When they drafted Barnett, I assumed day 2 and day 3 that Vinny Curry would be moved.
No, and I think that was actually a pretty educated thought process. I mean, the one thing about the Eagles that I didn't realize until I looked a little deeper into it is Marcus Smith is the only defensive end on their roster right now who will be in his 20s when the season ends. Vinny Curry, I didn't realize he'll actually turn 30 during the season. And obviously we know Brandon Graham, Chris Long are both veterans. So I think the Barnett pick, number 1, it's youth. It's trying to get younger at a position of need. You know, they're going to have him lining up next to Fletcher Cox and Timmy Jernigan. So you got to figure he's probably going to get one-on-one with a tackle just about every time out. Let's see what the kid brings to the table.
Well, that was something else I asked the guy who I trust when it comes to the NFL evaluations, and I said, most of the time, top 15 picks start.
Right.
I said, does Barnett start over Curry knowing you're paying all that money, you're going to give that much money to a guy coming off the bench? And he said that he thinks Barnett does start day 1, and you actually see Vinny Curry slide to the inside more to allow Barnett to play more.
I could see that. The other thing I could see, and this is probably not a very popular opinion, I could actually see Brandon Graham getting moved. I mean, Brandon Graham, he is an asset for them right now. He was just voted one of the top 100 players in the NFL.
For the first time in his career.
Yeah, like one of the top 7 at his position. If you need to free cap space and you want to get assets back, now I'm talking about assets like I'm Sam Hinkie over here, some shit like that.
You did it right.
Well, the Browns had that thought process, and
Yeah.
I think they had a great draft.
But here's the thing, though. If we want to rip Howie, and I got no problem ripping Howie for certain things, I think you got to also look down in round 4 and say they know that Darren Sproles has announced that this is going to be his final year. They wanted Donnell Pumphrey in round 4 at 137. They also knew that Dallas wanted him at round 4 at 133. So what did they do? They got Minnesota on the phone. They traded 137 and their 7th rounder to move up 5 spots, get the guy that they wanted, and just as importantly, keep him from going to Dallas.
No, I like Pumphrey. He's a very solid pick, especially where they got him. At the time, I was crossing my fingers on Jamal Williams
Right.
or Marlon Mack being there at that time. And Marlon Mack was there, was available at the time they picked Pumphrey. But, I mean, at the same time, you got your Darren Sproles replacement.
Right.
You have another year to come back and try to get your big back.
So what we're saying is we didn't miss on a pick. That's pretty much what we're saying.
Oh, we don't
From
know.
1 to
We don't
7,
know.
it looks like
I mean, you
we're
don't
in.
know
You're
yet,
right,
but
we don't know.
I think rounds 1 through.
I'm going to be the negative Delphi.
See, I think
Somebody's gotta pick.
rounds 1 through 6 you didn't miss.
See, I can't give that to Barnett yet.
Can't give it to anybody.
I mean, when you're a first-round pick and you're picked in the top 15, you better be a Pro Bowl caliber player within your first 2 to 3 years. And if you're not, that's a miss. So I think jury's out on Barnett. I love the Sidney Jones pick. Like I said, I wish.
I agree with that being an A pick. No
I wish
question.
that
No
they
question.
would have maneuvered around a little bit to get him later in the second round because I think he still would have been there.
And there's no doubt in my mind, though, that if Dalvin Cook's sitting there, though,
Right.
he's their pick, not Sidney Jones.
Agreed.
At that spot, but Minnesota traded up. And that's what we're like. I had to actually turn off the radio on Monday because I was sitting there listening, and people were like, you had Quincy Wilson. Sidney Jones. Like, stop. I know he's hurt, but
You go
in
upside.
10 years from now, who are you going to say is a better corner?
Right. Now, here's the thing for me. As I look down the draft, Rasul Douglas at 99.
Ball hawk.
Love him.
Yeah.
Ball. I don't know
I
if you
think
guys
it's-
saw that Instagram video I put out of Douglas going one-on-one with the
With Shelton Gibson.
My God. Like, if you want to talk about great coverage and then an insane catch at the end in the end zone, like,
Well, here's the
Real
issue.
quick, boys.
Go ahead.
Find us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. If you're joining us on Instagram, head on over. You can finish watching the show
We're
over there.
instantly gramming.
Instantly, Grant.
The one issue that I do have with this is they take Mac Hollis in round 4 at 118, and then they come
special
back
teams
and
guru.
they
though.
take Shelton Gibson in round 5 at 166. Now, I don't have a problem with Mac Hollis because every scout that I've heard, everyone that I've talked to, everybody that I have asked, best special teams player in the draft, and can be a real good slot receiver. For me, with all the money that you spent at wide receiver in the offseason, if you're going to draft Mac Hollis in round 4, I don't necessarily like coming back and taking Shelton Gibson in round 5.
I agree.
He's a guy with average speed
Listen,
that in the NFL, he's going to be a guy.
Can we just say who he is? He's a West Virginia wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, just do your homework on West Virginia wide receivers. They don't pan out at the next level.
Yeah,
None of them do.
To me, they needed a little more positional diversity there, and I think
I thought they would have went O-line. Really,
Oh, yeah,
Michael?
well,
I really
that's
thought where they
exactly.
were
I
at.
was going to say, or straight out, if their idea is to draft Nate Gary out of Nebraska and turn him into a linebacker,
I like that pick, too.
well, instead of drafting Gibson, why not just draft a pure linebacker in that spot and then come back later on? And if you want to take Gary, you take him. If not, then you take the best available.
It's tough to trust a draft when you know the guy's track record. Now,
See, well, that's why I put an asterisk next to this draft, though, because of Joe Douglas.
yeah, well, me too.
Oh, there's
Me
a
too.
lot of Joe Douglas
It
fingerprints on
smells
this.
like it. Listen, my grade for it is a B minus. I'm just not. I can't listen. Even if I'm the Cleveland Browns or the San Francisco 49ers, I think A's are inappropriate when grading the NFL and then the NFL draft on a scale because there's no such thing as an A because an A is nailing one guy, and most teams don't do it. You know what I mean? If you look through it, out of all the draft picks, 300 and 399, right? Is that the number? 399
Yeah,
picks.
about there, yeah.
All right. They're at 399.
299.
Oh, 299, that's right. $2.99. Okay, you're lucky if 10 to 15 have really good NFL careers. You're lucky. So there's more misses than there is hits.
Oh, right.
So I look at it as like, one, the guy's track record, he hasn't been good. He's failed numerous times at the draft. We know this. He drafted a DN and reached on one 3 years ago. Okay, then signs one 10 months ago for people to join
But you
us.
know they'll turn around and say that was Chip's draft.
Yeah, no question. We know it's Howie.
Because he was a former quarterback, and Chip loved those former quarterbacks.
Or Howie just drafted him because Howie loves
Yeah.
DNs.
And he got caught with his pants down with Clinton Dix and Brandon Cooks.
Yep.
Out the word.
Right.
Oh, we're trading back.
We have a trade back. And then I piggyback it into the Vinny Carey, like I said 10 months ago, and then in the Barnett, who I watch a lot of Tennessee games because I'm a degenerate, and I like to throw puzzles around on the college game. And
you're
he
an
stood out.
SEC guy, which is like the
Yeah.
AAA for the NFL.
Like if you're going to draft a guy in the first round, it should be an SEC guy. All things being equal, I want a guy who's played against the best and has accomplished a lot against the best. I don't care what his combine was. And too many people look at arm length and this, that, and the third. Where does the guy get done on the football field? So in terms of the Barnett deal, I feel like Joe Douglas had a lot to do with it. I only wanted one name. When I didn't hear the name, I lost my shit. Took a step back. I like the pick. I don't hate the pick. The guy can get it after the quarterback. Like I said, I watched a ton of Tennessee games, and live, he was the best player on the field when he was on the field. And you noticed it. You noticed him when he was on the field. When I look back and be like, oh, that was him? Oh, okay. I don't hate that pick. So I wanted guys. I thought there was better talent on the board, but I don't hate the pick. It's just hard to trust Howie with DMs.
Here's my question for you guys, though. Knowing that this has the Joe Douglas fingerprints all over it, when Joe Douglas says he's a defensive end who gets after the quarterback in the mold of Terrell Suggs, does the comparison to T. Sizz from a guy who was in the Ravens organization for a while
Didn't have a good combine. Suggs, bad combine.
give you any stock at all?
Tons. Because listen, don't compare him to Reggie White. You didn't.
Yeah,
you just mentioned the rape of the Daily News.
Well,
The Daily News did a whole different thing.
Even the kid said he doesn't want to be compared to
No,
Reggie White.
you want to be Derek Barnett.
You're talking about what somebody
The greatest.
did at college to the Minister of Defense. Like,
And a college game that throws an average of 12.6 more times a game over the last however many years.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, it's not right. The guy who decided to come
No
up with
pun
that.
intended.
I would say I see what you did there.
But it's true. I mean, it's the best end in NFL history. Don't compare because that pressure is going to make that kid fail. I don't care who you are.
no, yeah.
So that's not even fair. And
Especially
then-
the fact that he got drafted by the Eagles, and then the biggest newspaper in Philadelphia is going to put
Get
that
cute.
on. Like, come on.
Well, here's where I am.
I got
with
tons
this.
of comments. We'll get to
Cool.
all the comments on the Facebook Live in a minute.
Where I was with this overall, to me, this was a solid B overall. And then I looked at big picture. What was the Eagles' biggest position of need last year? Cornerback. You get Russell Douglas, who is likely going to be a day one starter. Your starting cornerbacks this year are probably going to be Russell Douglas and Jalen
Do you
Mills.
think he's more of a? Do you think he's more set out to be a safety though?
Actually,
No,
no.
he
I think
definitely-
it goes the other way. I
he's
think what
more
happens
nickel?
is I think what happens is Jalen Mills, once Sidney Jones is healthy and he can start and be an every down corner, I think you could see Jalen Mills slide into the nickel or back to a safety spot.
See,
Okay. Yeah.
I think Douglas's speed is a little lacking, and you can say whatever you want. If you watch him on tape, the guy keeps up with. The Eagles drafted Gibson, ran a 4.5 at the combine. His pro day ran a 4.3. Douglas ran step for step with him for 40 yards.
Well, the thing
Covered him into the end zone.
I
I think his cover skills don't make up for it. He's a corner.
Well, the thing that I like about Douglas is his off-the-ball speed might be a little lacking, but his closing speed is
Oh, no.
incredible. And
His instincts, too.
I was just going to say he's got instincts that are absolutely off the
Listen,
charts.
at the end of the day, at this level, at the NFL level, you need ball hawks. You
That's
need
what I'm saying.
guys
That's my
who
biggest
the
thing
football
they got.
finds their hands. And
When the ball goes up,
He gets the
Rasul
ball.
Douglas
Gets the
is
ball.
going to go get it. Same thing with Sidney Jones, though. The guy's undersized, but he jumps out of the building and somehow finds a way to. If you don't come down with the ball, the receiver's not.
Well, and here's the great thing about both of these guys is you have corners in the NFL that are ball hawks that are going to make, they're going to have their share of breakups. They're going to have their share of interceptions. These two guys, when the ball gets in their hands, it's going back the other way. They become wide receivers and running backs when the ball is in their hands. And I don't think you can undervalue that.
And the biggest thing, too, that stood out to me watching their tape, if you watch Sidney Jones and Douglas, I watched one play versus Iowa State. Douglas, he wasn't the player that got beat. A linebacker got beat. Douglas chased him down 15 yards, and instead of just making a tackle, punches it out. And then Sidney Jones, the same thing. If you watch him, if he gives up a catch, his helmet is right to where the ball is. And he just forces they're very good players. And that's the biggest thing. I think the Eagles been lacking at corner of a guy that can tackle.
It's a big thing, Sean. It's a huge thing. That's a great point because you need guys in open space who can make tackles in your secondary.
They haven't had a corner that could tackle since Sheldon Brown.
And listen, every team, you got to make tackles in open space or you'll get killed in this league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially where you're looking for more teams go to smaller, faster, wide out in the slot. You got to be able to tackle these guys in open space, and you need corners who want to get physical and come up and tackle at the line of scrimmage because if you don't have them, you're going to get gashed in the run.
Right. Well, let's come back to that Donnell Pumphrey pick for a second. The unknown about that, or at least unknown, not widely known, is Donnell Pumphrey actually has the NCAA record for most yards from scrimmage.
Yep. Broke it this year, yep.
Yeah, I mean, as a running back in terms of rushing yards, he's got the most rushing yards. And then when you count his receiving yards, and they say he's a great receiver out of the backfield, his combined yards is, off the charts. Pove, what do you got, brother?
A little comment on YouTube. We got Alex Ocasio chiming in saying, see, I think Rasul is more suited for the nickel, but I think he'll be a matchup guy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and time will tell.
Time will tell, right?
It's all gonna depend on his the speed of the NFL.
Closing speed.
Everybody always says it's quicker.
How quick is he?
And
his speed,
his speed didn't stand out if you watch him play in college, but he was 8 interceptions said something.
Yeah, I mean, and
the guy's always there.
And Tommy, I think you just kind of hit it sort of under your breath a little bit. Like, you can be not fast if you're quick.
No, yeah, 100%.
Christian McCaffrey's that to me. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a burner. He's quick.
Yeah,
and he's quick, and that's what matters at this level. I care what you do within 10 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where you're going to take something to the house or not. Mm-hmm. You might be a guy after 10 yards who's explosive, but that doesn't do anything. So it's all that, and it's all seeing what these guys do when they get to this level. Reading out a couple comments, we have Zach Boylan, Smallwood, the starting tailback now. Rob Povey gives it a C. Brian Daly, a solid B. Frank Garrett, why didn't we get Charles, running back from Kansas City? We have all small backs that won't be able to get 1 to 2 yards on third down.
But that's Charles.
And that's Charles.
Off season's not over.
That's Charles for the most part.
LeGarrette Blount's still out there, and if he's out there on June 1st.
But a name who I love too that nobody's mentioned, D'Angelo Williams, is out there too. When he's had to come in for Le'Veon Bell, that dude's put up numbers.
But here's the thing: June 1st. I'll keep telling people this. If these guys are still out there on June 1st, you're going to see price tags come way down. And it's also a time where you could start moving guys on your own squad without having to pay these roster penalties. So you could start freeing up cap space. So you could see a guy like Michael Kendricks get released and a guy like a LeGarrette Blount or a D'Angelo Williams get signed.
Yeah, agreed. But Zach Boylan again, great undrafted signings.
Yeah, we'll get to that, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to throw that. Bernie Campbell, jury's out. Get back to you in 2 years. You still gotta put it on the field. I agree. It's a 2-year wait.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all speculation. Even
right.
The biggest experts in this field, okay, talk about one word they use all the time is that guy's raw. And that's just their excuse because they don't want to say he's good or bad. And it's a cop out, in my opinion. And then nobody, even the best expert that put their mock drafts out, and they give their grades. Nobody has a clue at this point.
Right, but
it's all just speculation and hoping you did enough research that they'd be close enough to the right answer.
Here's one of the things though that I think goes highly unnoticed. If I were to ask you the question, thinking about it from a roster perspective, what do Nelson Aguilar, DGB, Paul Turner, and Bryce Treggs all have in common besides the fact that they grossly underachieved last year? Not one of them plays special teams. Mac Hollis and Shelton Gibson, if nothing else.
Well, you could say Aguilar return game-wise.
Okay,
but yeah.
Mac Hollis is, like we said already, he was the best special teams player in this draft. Shelton Gibson, kickoff returner, punt returner, and a cover guy.
Mm-hmm. You can see Pumphrey in that role, too.
And you can see Pumphrey in that role. Basically, what I'm saying right now, right out of the gate, with Mac Hollis and Shelton Gibson being draft picks, Bryce Treggs and Paul Turner are not on this team.
No, that's a guarantee.
And for all the Paul Turner apologists, tough shit.
Listen, but a certain company, and I'm done naming names at this point, but said that DGB and Aguilar should pack their bags because of a 4th and 5th round selection. Can we pump our brakes, please?
Stop
Like,
it.
can we just pump our fucking brakes for a
See?
minute? That's inappropriate. Aguilar's not going anywhere yet, okay? Now, if you want to talk about DGB, maybe, but he's still a threat in the red zone, you would hope. And these two guys, listen, Mac Hollins caught 81 catches over 4 freaking years at UNC. Now, does he have 20 touchdowns? Yes. Okay, but he caught 40 balls last year from the 3rd overall pick. If Trubisky's who the Bears think he is, who I don't think he is, he should have caught a lot more than that. If he's a legit wideout at this point in his career, okay? Right now, he's a project at the wide receiver position, and he does a lot of things on special teams. Both of them are. So neither one's out the door yet. Now, let's see what happens in camp and everything like that. But Aguilar's not going anywhere.
No.
So don't.
Well, and
that post
right.
is bullshit
That's what I just
and
said.
lies to the people.
It's Aguilar.
Dope.
Aguilar and DGB are fine. It's the next two down.
Are gone.
It's Turner and
There you go.
Trey.
See, I
now,
think, I
DGB
think
might
the
be
fact.
going to
No,
Torrey
I was
Smith
going to say
if they don't keep 6.
I
but
think
they
the
might keep
fact
6.
the fact that they drafted 2 along with the signings, I think they told both of them guys don't get comfortable.
Right.
I like
Like
that. Yeah,
you
yeah.
come back next year and do the same shit you did last year. See ya.
Competition. We talk
Yeah.
about it. We talk about it ad nauseum on this show. Is you create competition for guys. Marcus Smith, perfect example. You're not giving him that option. What does that do? It says, hey, you want to
Put
play?
up or shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to play? And we went at the end of the first round. Are you here? It's like a little not. Are you here?
I-
Anybody
I-
home?
I have a feeling- I have a
That's all it
feeling-
is. You hit a pocket for a minute. Guys start.
Here's the thing, though. I have a feeling when he shows up this year,
I think he's a good player.
and Vinny
man,
Curry's the
but
one that comes up small.
People
and I
hate me for
and
it.
you know I hate that because I'm a big Vinny
And I'm
Curry
still-
I
fan.
love Vinny Curry.
Going
But
back to
Marcus
the-
Smith, in my opinion, if he got time, can get after the quarterback. I hate it saying it at nauseum. You don't beat the best left tackle in football because nobody did it last year. Marcus Smith was one of them guys who beat him one-on-one, and that's Tyron Smith from the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? We talk about it. He's really good against the run. Now, is he fully where he should be? Hell no. And does he get a bad rap because of where he was selected? That's on Howie. But yes. But I
Yeah,
still
no, he
think
should have been a 2nd-round pick.
I still think he can play a little bit. But guess what? Now, when you take that option away, it's shut up time. Go play or shut up and play.
Well, and when it comes to cap management, he's a lot cheaper than Vinny Curry.
So you'll find out. But I'm not here to sell
Right.
anybody on that guy.
But going back to the wide receiver thing, I honestly thought, and I kept putting this out there on the social media, telling people, don't be shocked if it happens. Don't be shocked if it happens. And I still think it could happen up until the season because I don't think there's any shot that they re-sign him. Is Jordan Matthews getting dealt? The guy can't play outside, and he doesn't fit the West Coast system as a slot receiver with his body style and his game play. They like the faster guys like a Wes Welker and guys like that, and I just don't think he fits into – if Doug Peterson's going to be here, I just don't think he fits into what they want to do, and his contract's up. He's going to get paid like a number 2, number 1 receiver would in free agency. And I'm just telling people, don't be surprised if he's moved.
My
I think
my
next year-
counterpunch
I
to
think
that.
next year. I think when Doug's gone, I think we already know.
Yo, well, that's I would
Right.
not be
John
mad
Harbaugh.
about that.
Oh,
I would not be mad.
Gonna be
at
John
that.
Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Right. My counterpunch to
You heard it
that
here.
is, and I don't disagree with what you're saying about the contract. I think that's actually the thing that could drive that whole process. But my counterpunch to that is you look at the guy that Andy and Doug, when they were with the Eagles and Kansas City, absolutely loved as their number 3, their slot guy, and that's Jason Avant.
Very true.
And it's essentially the same type of player.
Very
In fact,
true. Except Jason Avant caught everything you threw his way.
Right, but Jordan Matthews probably a little faster.
Yeah, no,
better
100%,
body,
definitely better athlete, yeah.
It's kind of, where do you want to go there? Getting back into the picks, though, Nate Gary, it's going to be a project. I mean, I love secondary guys from Nebraska because they're tough and they hit. They may not cover great. I don't know about converting this guy to a linebacker. Sean, what do you know about him?
He's a hard hitter. He's a very good tackler at the safety position. Who knows what he's going to do at linebacker? He's undersized right now. I think they view him as like the outside linebacker nickel type guy to be able to spread out when a guy runs outside.
Cover a tight end.
He could cover, and you get caught in them situations. But I think if you're going to convert this guy to a linebacker, is he still going to have them same skills? Because I think he's going to have to put on 15, 20 pounds to be able to play linebacker every day. If that's how they see him. If they just see him as a package hybrid type guy coming in on certain passing downs, then that's one thing. But if you're really asking this guy to be one of your linebackers moving forward, then I don't know if him putting on weight is going to take away from his game.
Does this guy have a Chris Maragos type written all over him where he turns out to be a special teams ace?
Definitely could. Definitely could.
And then what do we know about Elijah Qualls? Because a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing about this guy
He's
is
their new running back. He played running back in high school.
Well, I'm hearing that. Well, that's the thing is they say that as a defensive tackle, that everything that I've read is the guy's an athlete. He was a running back in high school. He played a little tight end. They say that just for his size, he's a freak of an athlete. So
No, yeah, he's one of the guys not to get under Tom's skin, but he's a raw. He's a raw guy. But he's a
well, that's what they say, and it's not you. It just gets in your head. Like it becomes natural. Like over years of watching the draft, I feel like I say like in the 4th round, like raw. Maybe
No,
before
but
they say
he's
like, I'm
only-
watching on tape, raw.
it's a project.
Raw.
But
Real
no, but
raw
he's
between the
only
legs.
he's only been playing DT a couple years now,
Yeah.
fully focused.
Yeah, that's what they say too. That's what they say. This guy's a football.
Yeah, fully
This guy,
focused.
we're just gonna call
So-
it that this guy just started playing football a
So
year and a half ago.
His technique,
score
is
update.
bad.
Freddie Galvis with a sacrifice fly fills 3-1.
Oh, Linda's coming.
Yeah.
Linda's gonna knock on the door to me now. Missing on-base percentage. He was up over.
Oh yeah, 13-game history.
I couldn't believe it. His on-base percentage the other night was up over 3. I said, whoa, whoa.
Speaking of which, we'll get into this later on,
Yeah.
though. But you started saying that, and it started like ringing in my ears. And then I heard today, Daniel Nava finished the month of April with an on-base percentage over 520. Dude needs more at bats.
Needs to play that.
Needs to play.
Well, I had Steve Beer. I hope I got his name right. At wide receiver has to be 6. Jeffrey Smith, Matthews, 2 rookies, and Nelson's contract.
See, I think it's only 5. I think it's only 5 regardless. I think it's going to come down
Wait,
to
read that off again, Tommy.
So he would say it has to be 6. The guy Steven, Jeffrey, Torrey,
Right.
Matthews, the 2 rookies, and Nelson.
So, and you know what? I don't disagree with
See,
him.
The
I
DGB
think-
in that eyes, but it would be the odd man out on that one.
But I think, I think DGB, unless he comes out and absolutely snaps this preseason, I think his
But if
writing
he,
is on the wall.
if he does that, I'm trying to trade him.
But I think one of these corners,
He's
one of
soft,
the
dude.
corners,
He's soft as
one of
6'6".
these rookies, and I think it's going to be Hollins because of his special teams thing. Like that's just all I've been hearing is the Eagles don't want to carry no more than 5.
Well, maybe then guys are going to be moved.
It's going to be put up or shut up time. Yeah.
In all
We talk
seriousness,
about great competition. You got
you
a
know-
lot of guys coming into camp at the wide receiver position.
You know what we should do for next week? We should give just our way too early Eagles roster breakdown.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It would be
It's
fun.
always fun breaking.
Yeah.
It's always a good time. Yeah, so long term, Steven says, we got a pair of cornerbacks that'll start, a starter at the end, a replacement for Tank, and a couple wide receivers that complement each other, and a steal in the 6th round. It's an A.
I respect the opinion.
Yeah.
It's a good thought process.
Yeah, I'm just not A because of Howie. I mean, I'm giving it a B- out of fairness to Joe Douglas that I hope he had a lot to do with this. But on paper, it looks good. Like you drafted certain spots that fit what you're trying to do. So, you know, Burnett really fits in the little wide 9 situation.
Yeah.
Like better than other DNs in this draft.
I
So,
had
mean,
Charles Harris ranked higher than Barnett on my player rankings, especially for the Eagles because I thought Harris was a little quicker coming off the edge in a wide 9. Like I said, I went back a week later. I can't be mad at the pick.
is
It
what it
remains to be seen, but when the way that if Foster would have went the next pick, I would have been super pissed. But the fact that 14 other teams passed on him after you did,
yeah, it's all
it's
because-
kind of something.
It's because the NFL is a walking fucking contradiction. That's why. That's why. Let's pump them full of Percocets. I'm not going to get into this. Robbie,
Well,
what'd you have? Guy can't smoke some weed, but you can pump him full of Percocets when he has an injury.
Exactly. I'm not sure if you guys addressed this one comment on the Facebook Live from Frank Garrett, but speaking of who would be the starting running back for your guys' squad, he asked, why didn't we get Charles running back from Kansas? We have all small backs.
we read it off.
You did read that
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Does that?
But
But
absolutely-
he's one of the smaller. He'd
Yeah.
be another smaller back.
exactly.
Wait.
It makes no.
So you read it and got the same
Now,
thing.
is he
Yep,
talking?
got it.
Is he talking Jamal Charles?
Yeah.
Yes.
We already have him. It's Ryan Matthews. It's a guy that can't stay healthy for a full season.
And won't be
Right.
on this football team this year.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
No,
In my
he's done.
opinion, he's done. So starting running back, I think at this point, I mean, nobody's going to play
And Ryan Matthews,
all snaps.
just to your point, Mike, Ryan Matthews, as soon as he passes the physical, snip.
Snip.
Bye-bye.
I think it's Wendell Smallwood right now.
It has
Job
to
to
be.
lose.
It has to be.
So we'll see.
Or I will say this, dark horse, as the guy mentioned in the comment, best undrafted free agents,
Corey Clement.
Corey Clement.
If he's healthy.
That dude,
another health.
He has the size, he has the athleticism to play at this level.
Like Big Ten backs.
His work ethic has been. The only caveat is Wisconsin backs always. Last year, Melvin Gordon had a good year, but Wisconsin backs always stink in the NFL.
Well, here's where I go with that is, who's one of the. I mean, if you look recent history, one of the best running backs to come out of Wisconsin to play in the NFL, Ron Dane. Well, when was Ron Dane the most effective? When he was spotted. So for me, I'm looking at.
And they're also both from New Jersey.
Right. And I'm looking at this as Wendell Smallwood is my first and second down guy. Sproles is my third down back. But as the season goes on, you're getting less of Sproles and more of Pumphrey because you got to start to weave him into that spot. But what I'm doing is I'm spotting Corey Clement. I'm doing, maybe first down on this series, second down on this series. If they go second and short, third and short, he's going to be my short yardage guy. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot, and I think it's a great signing.
If he could have stayed healthy, he's a fourth-round pick.
Right. The other undrafted free agent that I love, I just don't know what they're going to do with him, is the quarterback out of Houston, Greg Ward Jr. He's not going to make a team as a third quarterback. I mean, that's pretty much a given. Could they practice squad him as a quarterback? Maybe. He's not going to make it as a wide receiver. Could they practice squad him as a wide receiver? Maybe. But I love the guy's athleticism. And if this guy turns into one of these guys who's just such a good athlete that they have to find ways to get him onto the field, that's a great problem to have and an unbelievable signing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can win in some of these free agent signings after the draft. You can find you can find
Try to convert him
player.
a corner.
You just never know. You never know. Yeah, well.
You never know, honestly.
I mean, in 2 years, you know who else is going to have that same problem in 2 years is Lamar Jackson. Quarterback, he's not going to play a lick at quarterback in the NFL.
Now, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the Eagles 2017 draft, giving our grades, just previewing a little bit of the roster where we think some things can shape out. You can chime in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, HUD Radio. Obviously, if you're here, is where you can find us. This is brought to you by the Soap Stash, Soap Stash LLC, the new soap standard. Find them on the web, soapstash.com. Let me tell you something. It's freaking phenomenal bars. I mean, the best bars around. There's no better bar of soap to put on your body. So get a little task. Summertime coming, get it under the pits a little bit. Get a good bar and get it up under there. Clean your stuff out right. All right? We're here to help you. We're not here to lie to you. We're not selling fucking skull shavers or whatever other bullshit people are selling. So
you ain't gonna drop any names, but you'll drop their sponsors.
Oh, I'll just cry. Yeah, I'm a silent assassin now, but I'm talking.
You're silent.
Makes sense, Sean?
Did you just say you're silent?
I'm a silent assassin.
You haven't been silent since you were in the womb.
I'm only loud when you put like a microphone in front of me or like a camera. Besides that, I'm a pretty quiet guy.
Yeah.
Like Manny Machado.
I know this. I do know
I'm
this.
Like,
Try talking to this guy off camera or off mic. Good luck with that.
No, you have a great conversation. I feel like I'm a good conversation guy. Rob, you feel like you have good talks with me off air?
All I ask for is that you listen, and then you do. Anytime I say anything, you'll be talking a mile a minute, but I say like one little thing, and you recall it like that.
I'm not Zach Bird mile a minute. Yeah, I mean, I'm more like a mile every 5. Zach's a mile a minute. I'm like a mile every 5.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the difference.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe a mile and a half.
Well, here's the difference, though.
I'm breaking balls.
You listen.
Man.
You
listen to me more than I do.
You listen to understand. He listens to respond.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Big difference. This is
Loves the sound of his voice.
This is great.
Might be the only one. That's okay though.
That's fine. Somebody's got to love it.
You want to get him spinning on his top? You just say McNabb's better than
Culpepper.
Culpepper.
Oh,
And then I'll
good
throw
Lord.
a headset off his face again. TJ Graham. What would be the surprise player cut before the season starts for the Eagles?
Surprise player cut. I don't know. I mean, there any surprise? I mean, there's a lot of people like the writings on the wall, like DGB. Would you be surprised if he was cut?
I think
I'll give you a name.
Marcus
I got
Smith, maybe cut before the season.
I gotta say Brent Selleck.
Selk's a good
Because
one.
I think they.
You think they cut him after he took a pay cut?
I don't. It's the thing though. It could turn into a numbers game, and they love Trey Burton.
Oh no, 100%. I would
So-
have no problem with Selk
So
getting cut.
I mean, if it becomes a situation where
It would be kind of shitty that you ask a guy to take a
It
pay
would-
cut and cut him.
it would absolutely be shitty. But
Yeah, it would.
here's the thing: if it turns into a numbers game, and they have a tight end who comes into camp that impresses them that they could get for cheaper, it could be Selleck. He's just because he's getting up there in age.
No, I hear you.
I don't think it's going to be Michael Kendricks, just because they need another. They need
The
an
only
outside
way
linebacker.
Kendricks, I think he's traded if he's
Yeah.
moved at all.
I don't
Yeah.
think he's cut. A guy,
Well, here's the thing though:
Vinny Carey, man,
the reason
just because of money reasons.
the
You know
See,
what
but
I
I
mean?
think we have to look how
I don't
much
think you
we
get-
have to look into how much you would have to eat. to
That-
cut
yeah,
him
is it
now.
even worth it?
the reason that Kendricks wouldn't surprise me now though is they just claimed today off of waivers Steve Daniels from Washington,
Oh yeah, I seen
who
that.
was labeled as the most physical linebacker in the 2016 draft, missed most of his rookie season with Washington because of injuries. They put him
sounds
on.
like Michael Kendricks.
Yeah, they put him on waivers with an injury settlement, hoping to re-sign him for less, coming back, basically voiding his rookie contract because of the injuries. And the Eagles basically just said, "Oh, you're going to put this guy on waivers? Poop, we'll take him. Thank you very much."
All right. Stephen Bear says the
Yeah.
kid from Houston, Ward,
Help us hurt you.
reminds of Denard Robinson a little bit.
It's probably a pretty fair comparison.
Yeah, no, yeah. Guy
then he-
had flash in the pan.
Yeah, and he also said, who sets the edge blocking?
It's a great question.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
tough one. Yeah, I don't.
remains to be seen. But that's the great thing.
I can't name a
It's-
guy right now.
It's May 3rd, not June 3rd, July 3rd, August 3rd, or September 3rd.
I really thought that they were going to address left tackle at some point in this draft.
See, but I think
Surprised they didn't.
See,
I think they
I'm-
have it already. It's Lane Johnson.
I'm in the opinion
Yeah,
of.
well, then I thought they would go right.
that-
Unless
that
they really like Big
the
B.
Eagles-
I think that's the V.
All right.
See,
yeah.
I think the Eagles' offensive line is kind of a
Weird.
overestimated need. Like, I don't think it's as big of a need as people make it out to be.
Well, remember, we talked.
Just because I think Lane Johnson is your left tackle of the future. I think the way he played at the end of the year, Halapulavati Vaitai showed.
Wow!
Well done.
Wow!
Well done.
My man!
Well done.
He didn't even go for the big V. He knocked the whole name out of the
Oh,
park.
no,
Has,
Big B again.
has showed that he can handle himself at right tackle.
No, I agree
you
with
sign Warmack. You have Wisniewski coming back. Kelsey's a guy that could be cut.
Well, here's the way I see this.
Surprise! You want to talk about surprises?
But see, that wouldn't.
They've been trying to move him for 8 months now.
But that wouldn't surprise me because I could very easily see this playing out where you have Warmack at left guard, Brooks at right guard, and Wisniewski at center, and Kelsey finds himself the odd man out. And I'm not a huge Kelsey fan, so I wouldn't make me sad.
and
It's
I know.
it's tough to get rid of former Pro Bowlers, even though he's really underachieved over the last 2 years.
Well,
I think he was a Pro
really-
Bowl in Chip Kelly's
in Chip
system.
Kelly's system, in any normal system, he's an undersized center.
Yeah, listen, that's a good name to get cut. You could say it. We'd have to see how much they would have to eat on it, and how much if it's even worth it long term to cut him, because you can never have too many guys on the offensive line. So, but they listen, like your point, the offensive line isn't bad at all. You got some Pro Bowlers on there.
Like, is it a little weak on depth because your best guy coming off your bench next year is probably Barber or Barbre?
He's okay.
But that's what I'm saying. That's
Is anybody deep though? True, you know what I mean?
No,
To that
yeah,
point,
you're right. Yeah, I mean,
always
unless
deep.
you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're like Doug Free retired. Wow, Collins slide up in
wait a
there.
minute. Yeah, not everybody has that luxury.
That was
You bastard.
that was a pick though. I mean that they just
They nailed it. They handled
nailed it.
the offensive line, and they went in. And
We drafted well.
right. But
Yeah.
here's the thing though.
Because you know why? Because Jerry Jones is a freaking football guy.
Right.
There's football guys, and there's guys who want to be football guys.
We talked about this about a month or so ago, though, with the Eagles. They went into the draft with, 18 offensive linemen on their training camp roster. I think they're pretty well set.
No,
on
they
the
are,
offensive line.
but the
Except
way
Dylan Gordon lost all my respect because Carson Wentz put up a picture yesterday of them all out hunting and fishing. The guy was wearing his own jersey.
Can't do that. Violation. Complete total freaking violation. You're not allowed to do that. Actually, I probably would. I'm not even mad at them. But no, they are real deep there. Like a lot of names per se for the Eagles O line. But Howie's MO was always draft one. So I was just surprised that they didn't draft any. I just thought they would draft a tackle at some point, even though it's never sexy. Howie really went to this draft almost like drafting for the fans. Really?
You know what?
Drafting
Right,
for,
I mean,
drafting for
besides
his
Ruben,
job.
You ain't wrong.
Besides Ruben, TJ Graham says he loves Wisniewski at center. Sounds good to him. He didn't say love, but he said
Solid
sounds
size. That's what and then you sign Warren. That's your backup
Well,
guard
and-
right there where
and
Wisniewski would be.
Center is Wisniewski's natural position, so I think playing him at guard last year was actually a little bit of a mistake.
good to him. Yeah, out of position. Makes sense. All right, so that's our Eagles' grades.
Take a break and get back
Yeah.
for the NFL draft experience.
Yeah, we'll talk a little about the
Sweet.
experience.
I want to hear all about this.
That the world found out that we already knew.
Yep.
Like
That we are Football Town, USA.
I just want to sit back on this
We are
segment and
football
just
town.
hear all about it. 'Cause
We are football town.
I'm a little jealous.
Listen, it was a great time. We'll talk about the whole day, what led up to it, the scalping of some tickets, and some funny stuff went down, and Robbie was with me all day. So.
Wait, by the way, before we go to break, I'm just going to throw it out right now. You guys went straight to the top of the chart when you sent me the message. You're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we stopped at the Phil's."
Yeah, you like that?
I'm
I know.
like,
I feel
my
like you.
man.
I feel like you to stop it in. I'm in the area.
It's like I'm in San Diego looking for the pictures, like from the
Hello.
NFL experience and everything like that. And I get the picture from Tom. Yeah, we stopped off at the Phil's. I'm like, my man.
I didn't say the picture down.
That's the one time in his life Mike regretted to go to Cali.
Yeah, no,
The only time. Only time.
ain't no regrets about it. That trip was spectacular, even if it was for business.
So all that on the other side, NFL draft experience. We'll talk Mike's trip to Dodger Stadium, racism, sports, talk some Phils, and whatever the hell you want us to talk about. We'll talk about that as well. This is Tom.
Mike.
AM.
In the PM.
HUDRadio.com. This segment was brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make him yours. You can always get an extension or for any of your needs.
If you're getting audited.
Any of your accounting needs. GibsonMayer.com is where you can find them, as well as the soap stash, the new soap standard. Get a clean bar. Soapstash.com. We'll be right back. Fun ball. Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real Talk, HUDRadio.com.
Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, is brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, certified public accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Mike from Tom and Mike AM in the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer, LLC, certified public accountants. 215-369-3300. Or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's www.gibsonmayer.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by the Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Tom Arnone, Big Mikey Smalls, Tom, Mike, AM, in the PM, only on A2DRadio.com.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
Hey, Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
Tom and Mike, AM and the PM, is brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Mike from Tom and Mike AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer, LLC, Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's www.gibsonmayer.com.
Fellas, you ever come in from that baseball or football game and your woman won't come near you because you stink beyond belief? Then you need Soap Stash. You should never settle for a generic hygiene product that only covers up the stench. Treat your skin with the best nutrients. Feel clean with the only soap you'll need. The highest grade carrier oils are ingrained in all of their products, which are 100% natural and terrific for your skin. No sulfates, parabens, or phthalates, and synthetic fragrance free. Contact Soap Stash for your sample package and give your woman what she deserves. You can contact Soap Stash at 844-890-3197 or visit them on the web at soapstash.com or Facebook at Soapstash LLC. Once again, their number is 844-890-3197. Soap Stash, the new soap standard.
You're listening to Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, here on A2DRadio.com.
I love a little bump and grind. You know what I mean? A little late night, taking the ladies to bed. Tom,
Mike,
AM,
in the PM.
HUDRadio.com. Tom Renner, Michael Mataraki, Sean Redd, and Rob Povey on the ones and twos. We're live in the BMW of Atlantic City studios. We're right here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. BMW Atlantic City. We're off exit 37 on the Parkway. Find them online. BMW of Atlantic City.com. Every Wednesday night, we're brought to you by our certified public accountant, Gibson Mayer, LLC. Take a little look on the web. GibsonMayer.com. I got a Facebook page as well. Gibson Mayer LLC is where you can find them on the book.
Eagle season ticket holder.
Eagle season ticket holder.
Gotta love them.
Listen, for the fans, by the fans. And our sponsors are for the fans, by the fans, because they're fans too. That's why they're sponsors.
And they give
That's
discounts.
how this works. That's how it works.
Negative discounts.
That's how it works.
Go drop A2D radio out there. Get a discount.
Get a discount. Stream Smart. All right, we got a promo code. A2D promo code. Contact me. DM me. Not like LeBron and the athletes do. Don't
slide.
DM
You
me.
want to slide
Don't
in?
slide.
Slide into my DMs.
Don't slide, Daddy. Just come on in and say hello, and I'll get you that discount code and take care of you on the Stream Smart.
No need to slide in. Just make your presence felt.
Yeah.
Or like Mr. Relevant with Mia Khalifa's DMs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people.
He
like to
slid in
slide.
there more than once, though, too.
He slid a couple times. He wasn't.
He
he
slid in
wasn't.
the DMs and he slid down draft board.
Why-
Yeah,
why-
because of the DM slides.
Hey,
Like, teams look at this like this guy went in again.
Yeah.
Like how can you trust his IQ?
Sorry, you're over.
Yo, for one, you end it there.
it's funny though. Like,
You're gonna. That tells me you're gonna throw in. You just went into double coverage.
it's just amazing to me though. Like, I understand that they
You went
call.
into some roast beef.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I understand that they call the last pick of the draft Mr. Irrelevant, but has there ever been a less irrelevant Mr. Irrelevant than the guy who's a starting quarterback at an SEC school and is the nephew of a Hall of Famer?
It's pretty irrelevant, but relevant.
People are making a big
it's
deal.
pretty relevant of being irrelevant.
I actually heard somebody defend it because Ben Albright said on Twitter that Chad Kelly is actually one of the worst quarterbacks he's ever seen play at an SEC school.
Look,
to your point, and people, Broncos fans, were like, "Oh, we drafted him because he knows what he's done." 7th round pick, dude. It's not Paxton Lynch last year in the first round.
He drafted him because he's friends with Jim Kelly. But here's my thing. Ben Albright, I know he's your boy and everything. After the debacle, bullshit, full of shit, swing and miss many times for free agency, Ben Albright can...
Yeah.
I got no love for that guy.
Nah.
I unfollowed him quicker than a whistle.
Yep. Can't swing and miss.
I will say this: he swing and miss, but he breaks a lot of shit.
I think he breaks a lot, I think, because he's got a lot of followers. I don't think he's getting his stuff firsthand. I mean, he swung and missed over and over and over again in free agency, and I was just like, you know what? I can't give this guy props over Shefty.
Yeah, bro. If you can't fight off the two-strike, if you don't have a two-strike approach, I can't follow it.
Yeah, but that point that you wanted to mention though, when we were at break about Howie in the draft.
Well, you know, I feel like it has a lot of Joe Douglas, like we talked about, all over it. And listen, I've made it very clear my dislike for Howie Roseman, a non-football guy trying to be a football guy. You know, look at John Lynch real quick in San Fran. He goes in there, boom. He gets his D tackle. He gets his middle linebacker. They got Reed back there. He builds up the middle. He's a football guy. I trust in football guys. Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore, football guy. You trust in these guys to be able to win in the draft. Howie, I never believed that. Now, if he brought in Joe Douglas as a sign to say, hey, you know, he doesn't have to come out and tell us, hey, I made mistakes and I'm going to bring in some help because I want to get this right.
And
if
at the
that's
end of the day,
case,
if it's Douglas's picks, at the end of the day, Howie's still the titled GM. All the credit in
listen,
the world.
it's all good because it doesn't have to be all Joe Douglas. If they have a back and forth and they meet in the middle on picks and they agree on things and they see eye to eye and that goes from the top to the bottom, this becomes a better organization.
Absolutely.
So that's what it all comes down to. So for him to even bring in a guy who he knows that could easily take his job tomorrow shows me a sign of a guy who's maybe growing into the role. Maybe finally grew up into the role.
I think you hit the nail right on the head with that, and I think the sure sign of that is you look at every press conference they've had this offseason that's dealt with personnel. Howie hasn't been out there by himself hardly at all. I mean, it's been Howie and Joe and Howie
Good. Holding
lockstep the whole way.
Holding hands, Daddy.
We're not having the what do you like better, pepperoni or sausage discussion this offseason because
Yeah.
they're going for extra cheese and that's that.
And that's fine. And guess what? Like I want him to hold hand in hand going to the altar. You know, Mr. Howie Roseman, are you willing to marry this man Joe Douglas and Howie Douglas and win and you take it from there and you win from there. You can't have it like we're shipping Howie and a struggle for power. You know, hopefully Joe Douglas is a guy who comes in and doesn't need that power. Some guys don't need that GM title to be successful and work with the guy who is the GM.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a guy like Sasha Brown in Cleveland. Listen, good picks. You got to give Cleveland that B+ because I'm not a fan of the A. Okay, but a high B+. But how can you trust an analytical guy in a game where it's not built like that. It's not built for analytics. It's built for what does the guy get done on the football field. So and then all the comments Sasha Brown made after Cleveland, at a great first round, 3 guys, and comes out and goes, well, we'll go about getting our quarterback 2018, 2019. So what you're telling the 3 quarterbacks on your roster and 1 you drafted is that, guess what? All 4 of you guys aren't good enough. Sasha, that gets you run out of places real quick.
After you just traded for Osweiler.
Yeah, woo. I mean, we know he can't play, but you're just letting them know yourself.
Don't tell him that.
Yeah, we'll pay the money, but we know you can't play.
Or he's trying to poker face everybody, and he actually likes Osweiler.
Maybe he does. Maybe he likes Kaiser, who can't read a defense. I don't know. What
but
did analytics do?
But that's Tom Brady's brain and Cam Newton's body, though.
Yeah. What do you do? Like, what do you do? What do you listen? You draft a guy in the second round who can't read defenses. It says everything I need to know about your talent evaluation, Sasha Brown and the Cleveland Browns. Okay, that's just me. All right, you passed on Carson Wentz, said he wasn't good enough. This is what my whole point of this is what non-football guys do. They overthink the goddamn process. Stop looking at shuttle times and this, that, and the third. What does a guy accomplish on the field?
But here's the problem, though.
Ruben Foster dropped because he wasn't at the combine. You understand this? Because, they saw him at his pro day, but unless they see you in shorts and their T-shirt at the combine, you drop on boards. It's that simple. Not because he's not the top 5 player.
Right, but you could take the smartest football guy in the NFL and have him go work for the Cleveland Browns, and he automatically becomes stupid. It just shit happens.
There's truth to that as well. But you understand what I'm saying, though? They put too much stock in the T-shirts and shorts. They really do because – listen, we watch Ruben Foster play enough to know that this guy, if linebackers were valued as much as they are, you could make case he's 1. You could make case he's number 1 player in that draft. You could. He's definitely top 5.
I think the shoulder scares
I think he's
people.
3. That's what I was going to say. I heard a lot of people say that the reports they got from the medical people that examined him was that they don't know if he's ever going to play a full season.
All right. Well, I mean,
you could say the same thing about Sidney Jones right now too.
So
as much
very
as
true.
As much as I hate to say it.
You know me. I would have picked him at 14.
No, me too. I was.
I don't give a shit. Turn on the guy's tape. Savage.
No, he is. And guess what? Maybe the shoulder isn't. But John Lynch knew something to go back in the first round for him. John Lynch could have stayed right where he was. He didn't need to come back in.
Probably still got him.
Yeah, he needed to come back in. That's a football guy saying, guess what? I'm going to take my shot on this guy. Because what's the draft at the end of the day? It's gambling. It's taking risks and hoping you nail at least if you can get 2 out of each draft that starts for you, you're in good shape.
Right, but here's the thing. I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
Yeah, please.
Because obviously John Lynch, football guy, we know this. But is that a rookie GM trying to make a big splash on his first draft with a team that finished 2-14 last year, taking a big gamble on a guy because of what the tape says, not because of what the medicals say or what the eye test may say.
But at pick 31, is it a big gamble?
Still a first rounder, brother. You're still paying him first round money.
Listen, to me, it says everything you know about Ruben Foster. That he's a flat out football player. That's the best linebacker in this draft. And for John Lynch to come back in the first round and say, hey, what my eyes tell me on tape and me watching Ruben Foster is the rest. I'll worry about that later because he can flat out play the game of football and he can change the middle linebacker spot for me after I lost Patrick Willis. And I'm going to win more football games. And that's how I look at it. It's a defensive guy saying, how did we win in Tampa? How did we win in Tampa? We had a great D tackle, we had a great linebacking core, and we had great safeties. Well, guess what? I'm not saying Eric Reed's great, but I'm saying you're building that out to replicate where you've won before.
Not to mention
you
have
feel like
Mike.
you can win.
I was going to say, I just can't wait until they come back in like 2 years down the road and they go back and they do that 2017 draft regrade.
Redraft, I love
or
them
not even a
things.
redraft, just like the once you see how all of the guys in the first 2 rounds have actually shook out what the grade really is based on how they perform to their draft slot.
No, yeah, but to Tom's point though, building up that 40, like they're saying, great defenses win championships.
Right.
They have Eric Reed. Now they have Ruben Foster. Bowman's coming back off an injury.
Yeah.
Who knows how many years he has left.
True.
But,
Still love him, though.
But you drafted Solomon Thomas, and you're pairing him with Buckner and Armstead.
And you fleeced the Chicago Bears, who have had any clue, knew you went to grad school with that man who you drafted with his third overall pick, and you fleeced them because they should have known that you're going Solomon Thomas because John Lynch, nobody knew Solomon Thomas better than John Lynch. They went to school together.
No, that was the obvious pick.
So, I mean, for Chicago to go up to 2 and then their head coach to come out and say, oh, I didn't even know we were doing this. What is going on? What is going on? Bad organizations.
Pretty much.
Bad communication. But whatever. We hope them days are done here in Philadelphia.
Right.
Eagles Nation.
Well, that's what another thing that stood out. The people that coming on that have been around the Eagles in the past, they said this is the first year they've ever seen Howie Roseman really coexist with somebody. And they said maybe if you could say the Chip Kelly era was a failure, but maybe in the grand scheme of things it was a success because it humbled Howie Roseman.
It's a good possibility.
No, very good possibility. I hope that's true.
They said, look, it's either you get along or back to the sock closet you go.
Yeah.
You got some more comments there?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Back to the mop room.
Yeah.
But
Your office on the other side of the building,
Yeah.
a.k.a. the janitor's closet.
all right, so I'll wait.
Actually, it was the equipment room, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, he was
Wasn't
in charge of
he
equipment,
was in charge
yeah.
of the equipment.
Yeah, he was running towels out there on the sideline.
That's an exaggeration, but people will get it.
Yeah, they got it.
He's the organization's asset manager. That's pretty
He's an
unbelievable.
asset, all right.
All right, so tell me about it, man. What was it like being down there?
Well-
I got to know.
Well, the day started where we took off. We were driving over to Walton. I look in the Citizens Bank Park, and I'm like, man, that's empty. It's gonna be empty today. Let's go check out a ball game. So
What'd you get tickets for? Like $8?
nah,
It's the same thing I asked him. I'm like, did you wear your Eagles gear and get in for $8?
I had Eagles gear on, but we didn't even go to the counter. So long story short, my buddy John Scanzano said, "Oh, I got Phillies tickets, earlier in the week." I'm like, now I'm going to the draft, like not thinking he had 5 extra tickets or whatever. So we buy tickets from the scalper outside. He tells us 25. Me and Robert are like, no. We take a little walk, a little semi-walk, and he goes, 20. I think it's still out of our range a little bit. 17. Boom, done. All right.
Master negotiators.
So then we get in there, and I text John, I'm like, yo, I end up coming to the game. And he's like, where are you sitting? And he texts him like 145. And he's like, don't tell me you're row 19. And I'm like, I'm row 19. And he comes in and he goes, dude, this whole row was my row of tickets. And we just sold them to the scalper out front not that long ago. And out of the whole place, we bought the ticket that we could have had anyway.
Destiny.
For free.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So then we leave the game probably around the 7th to get over to the draft. By the time we walk in, we're like, ugh, like exhausted, whatever. And we get up around the stage area where everything's going down, and there's tons of people, and the phone's out. We're live, and we're rocking and asking, tons of questions, different fans, Browns fans, whatever. One guy was wearing a Joshua Cribbs jersey, and he blew me off, and I referenced his crumb of a jersey, and then V-line back, I thought he was going to fight me, and then gave me an answer on who he wanted. So a lot of that going on, and we were up by the stage, and all of a sudden, the masses started rolling in, and I'm telling you, we couldn't move, and I go to the guys like, we got to get out of here. We got to move.
You're a little claustrophobic anyway.
Yeah, and it was like real tight. Like you probably see on TV, it got really tight in there. So we V-lined out, and we were actually considering bouncing and coming back here and finishing watching the draft. And right when we were leaving, there was a DirecTV tent. The guys like, come on in. Like we didn't leave yet. I still was like talking to people, blah, blah, blah. And then we went in there, and we watched it from in there, and we're still in there and experiencing all the videos you saw later on, like Diluted and, all that, the reactions were all us in that DirecTV tent with a ton of people. So it ended up working out awesome.
So somebody from DirecTV waved you in.
Yeah, he said, come on
basically?
in, watch it from in here. So we went in there and watched the rest. Pretty much, we watched it from the first pick on in there.
Did they have a bar in there?
They had a bar at the
Like in the tent?
There were
not
there
in
were
that
stands.
tent. No,
It was
There
all
were
like
stands.
concession. Like,
And listen, we couldn't even get a beer.
oh, yeah.
Really?
Like me
Not
and
to
Zach were
mention
trying to
you
get a beer the whole time.
$12 a beer
Getting a beer
probably did you a
in
favor.
Philly, NFL draft, hashtag not happening.
And hashtag shows you how we rocked it the hell out.
Hell yeah.
You know what?
you know.
I got to give away some free advertising here, though, for a second, because I saw this thing online today. I got to throw a lot of credit out there. So Tiernanog in Center City, Philly, throws out this advertisement today. Great story. Were you inconvenienced last weekend by the NFL draft? Did you get out of town or whatever? Cinco de Mayo Friday, you come in for happy hour on Cinco de Mayo, one of the biggest drinking days of the year. show them a driver's license with a 19103 zip code. They will give you a bracelet, and you will get 2 hours of free drinks.
Oh.
Props to Tiernanog.
About to order a fake ID.
And if anybody's got a fake ID for a brother, care of Tom Arnone at a2dradio.com. He knows how to get me.
I got licensed in 12 states.
Attaboy.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I've heard so many great stories from people that live in Center City that for as much of an inconvenience as it was leading up to the days, or in the days leading up to the draft, that, you know, everybody was like well behaved. It was just like, it was like a big party. There was a lot. And I've seen videos and stuff like that. I saw one of your videos. I saw Subway stuff, whatever. I know there was a lot of shit talking, but it didn't seem like there were any fights. Like, everybody was just kind of like partying.
100% accurate. 100% accurate. I mean, it couldn't have gone any better for the city of Philadelphia. Yeah, maybe the days leading up to the draft, there might have been some extra gridlock, but in terms of flow of traffic, day of, first round, obviously going to get the biggest, there was, 70, 80,000 people at the draft.
It may have been more, actually.
Might even been more.
100, it ended up 100,000 people that first night.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm speaking of. So over 100,000, and traffic flow was not a problem. So kudos to the police, city of Philadelphia, everything from top to bottom. There is a new place for the NHL or NFL draft, and to be quite frank, New York was getting stale. So this is a great thing.
Well,
for the NFL.
New York was getting stale for sure. Chicago, they struck out, if you ask me.
Right.
But now they're talking about keeping it traveling every year. But I'm like, if Chicago had it twice, Philly at least deserves an
another
encore
year.
Next year.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though.
Vegas.
Somebody said that, and actually their logic was actually really spot on. It said have it in Vegas every year. Right now they don't have a home team because the Raiders aren't there yet. They said you will get fans from every team just to go because it's Vegas, and you can have the players' names light up along the strip every time they're picked. And I was like, that would be a really cool thing.
That would be awesome.
I would have no grace that. I'm a degenerate.
Right.
Any excuse to gamble. I had a shit at the Trop for all I care.
Sugar House.
I was
I'm
gonna
in.
say.
Yeah, I'll be
I'm
over
in
there.
right by the water.
I'll be at the blackjack table.
And we dress like that. I'm jumping in.
Sean told his people he was going to the draft. He wound up at Sugar House.
Yeah,
Watch the draft. At
same
9
direction,
Got 9 fine Irishmen. Catch the draft.
Yeah.
Got you, Sal.
I got
Gregory Iosa. I hope I got that right. Isn't it sad that the biggest sporting event in Philly is a draft? To be frank, New York spends too much time in the playoffs and winning championships to worry about draft parades. And a smiley face.
Who?
Is it sad?
Who from New York has
who's
won
winning?
in this decade?
Who's won besides the Giants?
Oh, yeah, they did win that, with
They
Brady,
won, they won twice.
I mean, isn't it sad? I mean,
Well, what else did they won?
Yeah.
The Yankees haven't won
Yankees
shit in a
haven't won
while.
nothing.
All right. Did the Mets win something?
The injury, the DL award.
Are the Jets around? Are they a football
The
team?
Jets.
Yeah.
Jets.
Put another couple E's in there, too, moron. And then
The Rangers, what did they
Rangers.
won? Okay.
great.
you know what? Is it sad?
They
yet?
did. You got two teams in every
Knicks.
sport. You won nothing.
The Knicks. I
I
mean,
mean, it might be a little
Hold
sad,
on.
but at the same time,
The Nets.
TJ
Oh, yeah, they got Brooklyn now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
TJ Graham says the Rangers are in the playoffs, but
Okay.
that's about it.
Right, but here's the thing.
about it, yeah.
Did this finally help us get rid of the snowballs at Santa Claus?
Should have.
I mean, and what I was going to ask
New York,
you guys,
New York people are terrible.
The
They've been there.
Trailblazers are in the playoffs,
Oh,
too, though.
Stop it. I went to school in North Jersey, and North Jersey people are horrible people.
North
for the
Jersey
most
is
part.
New York.
For the most part, they're horrible individuals.
Look.
Not all. I had a lot of great friends up there, but
don't make me take you out to the Meadowlands. Well, North Jersey people will have a little problem with you.
I'll give my.
Yeah.
What
are you gonna do?
What I was going to say though is, how much of a factor was the weather? Because I mean,
Beautiful, yeah.
the last weekend of April, I mean, it could be 50 degrees, it could be 85 degrees, and I got to figure the weather probably put everybody in like that springtime mood. And
That's the only reason you didn't have a fight.
That's what I mean.
Everybody was summertime happy.
Everybody was summertime happy. Everybody was cool. Like, everybody just wanted to go out and be outside and be at the draft and party. And, like, nobody wanted to, excuse my French, nobody wanted to fuck that up.
Yeah.
Like, it was just.
Nobody got called an N-word.
Yeah, I mean, it was like. we'll get into that too. That's a problem. But so, did you guys hit any of like the draft experience at all? Did you see any of the players like roaming around or whatever?
No, at that point, all that stuff sort of like shut down. That was like more earlier in the day.
Because I had
Quinky went like early Saturday, or no, Quinky went Friday afternoon.
I had a picture
was
sent
able to
to
like,
me.
walk around. It was a lot easier.
I had a picture sent to me. It was like 2:30 out on the West Coast, so it was probably a little like 5:30ish here, and was a picture, real close, good picture, that they were driving Carson Wentz around on a golf cart, and he was just stopping at like random spots.
When he threw that Cowboys fans hat off.
And taking pictures with people, and then, he threw the Cowboy fans hat off and stuff like that. But everyone that I saw that ran into him on Friday just said he couldn't have been a nicer guy, which is good to hear.
Should we tell him about the Jesus, Tom?
If he wasn't, I'll egg him.
I did talk to Jesus.
You talked to Jesus.
Oh, yeah, the South Philly Jesus.
South Philly Jesus was in the house. Pupils really freaking big, and
really
just like I said, listen, who we drafting? Well, first off, he forgave me for all my sins. When okay, I said
it's a long list.
And I said my Eagle sins too, and he said waved, winning, and I said who did the Eagles draft in the 14? Well, I go, do you know anything about football? He said, yeah. I said, who did the Eagles draft in the 14? He gave me this, him. I said, so Super Bowl.
I mean, Reggie White was kind of close.
Super Bowl.
The new Reggie White was kind of close.
You
Maybe
went there.
Derek Barnett's reincarnated, like people were saying.
I wasn't saying that. I was just saying he's real religious. I wasn't saying
I
because he
was
was
just saying
dead.
it full circle. Maybe I really was talking.
I'm
to
bad,
Jesus.
but I ain't that bad.
Maybe I was like,
Score update from Chicago.
is it,
Wilson Contreras.
5-3 now?
Yeah, Wilson Contreras 2-run double, 5-3 Cubs.
Whatever that went. They scored first every game of this road trip so far, though, I think.
Not Friday night.
Oh, Gregory, would you
But they
stop
did
it?
take a lead Friday
Would
night.
you stop it? TJ Graham says there needs to be a Super Bowl or some type of All-Star game in Philly. Completely freaking agree. And then the New York rat comes crawling in saying need a new stadium these days for an All-Star game. Citizens Bank Park is a great park. What are we talking about? All right, that's a great park. That's a top 10 park in baseball. And that's
100%.
worthy of an All-Star
Especially
game.
for the fans.
So I need New York guys pump the goddamn brakes. Not in this chat, Daddy. You can do this in some other chats and get away with it. Not in this one. Probably a great guy, but not in this one.
Well,
I stick up for my people, man.
It's not as good as City
I stick
Field,
up
but
for my
it's pretty
freaking
good.
people.
A new ballpark. Citizens Bank Park is 12 years old.
I know. It's the house of Tommy Bell.
Right?
The house that Toby.
It is a house of Tommy Bell.
I know.
Tommy and Beryl.
The
That's the house. The Babe and Tommy Bell.
Why do you think?
Babe with a
Why
lot
do you
of-
think?
lot of
Why do you
yeah.
think the fences are so short?
Yeah.
Because they thought Tommy and Burrow were going to hit 50 apiece, one from the left side, one from the right side.
Yeah, it's TJ Graham. Yeah, Citizens Bank Park. I can host a baseball All-Star game easily. And the city of Philadelphia.
probably
can
one of the
easily
best
host
home
it.
run
interesting?
derbies.
These are both of my people, by the way.
All right.
Yeah,
I
they're
love
both
them.
my people.
Welcome in, boys.
Positive and negative.
Hey,
I love it.
a fungool.
But listen, listen, welcome to Agree Disagree Radio.
Yeah.
HEDradio.com. That's what we're here to do. It's not all kumbaya. That's boring as hell. I want guys coming in that like different teams. That makes it fun.
Right.
That makes it exciting. If not, what, are we all going to hold hands and agree all night? I don't like nobody that much.
Right.
I do love you guys.
And when I
but-
say people, I've actively met in groups, doing my social mediating, as I said, outside.
I like that
Yeah,
mediating.
you like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I like your style.
He's a man of peace.
He is. TJ,
TJ, fabulous Flyers guy.
TJ
Fabulous
Grant says
Flyer
the
guy.
only new stadium in New York is MetLife, and the New York Yankee Stadium doesn't count. And Yankee Stadium is horrendous. Have you ever been there? Like they tried to make it the old
The
Yankee
only stadium in New York
horrendous.
is it's
It
not
looks
even
like a
in New
muzzle.
York.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd you say?
true.
MetLife ain't even in New
I
York.
know.
Right?
It's in a Meadowland.
And Yankee Stadium looks like a freaking mausoleum.
It does. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Well,
Now-
I'll tell you what, though.
The Mets have a better chance of hosting it than the Yankees do. Their stadium's better than
Well, we
that.
did.
The
We did.
best-
I know, but I'm saying again.
The best
You
thing
do it
they
again.
the best thing
Absolutely.
they did at Citi Field though
like it that much.
was when they and Robbie, you and I have talked about this before. When Citi Field first opened,
Real big.
right? But their color scheme inside of the stadium was black and orange because they were trying to use that black accent color.
For the ball.
And even when the lights were on, I mean, every light in the stadium,
Dark.
It just looked so dark in there.
Yeah.
remember
and they
that,
they came back year 2 and they
Boston had
replaced
that same feeling.
they replaced all the all the black with the blue.
Including the seats,
I'm gonna smack
too.
the shit out of you in a minute. They replaced all the black with the blue, and all of a sudden it became like so much better of a place to watch a ball game.
Right.
Also, didn't hurt that Chase Utley was rocketing balls into that right field.
That little
porch,
corner
so-
point. Yeah.
He's
Always
corner.
Oh, his
corner.
corner, yeah.
Real quick about the Stream Smart thing. People just tuning in and all that. Stream Smart. You can use the HUD promo. Slide in my DM. Slide on in. We'll talk. Send you over to my buddy Vinny. Get you hooked up. All baseball games like we're talking right now. You get everything. Everything. I'm not here to lie to nobody. I love it. I still have one cable box. I got rid of the other one. I still have one. And as I learn it more and more, I plan on just getting cable. See you later. So that day's coming. So get on the train. Get our promo code. It's called Stream Smart. Inbox me. I got you.
There we go.
You can go put that in front of the camera if you want. What people say. Get
Oh,
up
motto.
in people. But that was the experience was phenomenal, guys. It was awesome being down there, and it felt like it felt like we won something until Ruben didn't go.
Right.
Because I would say from like 12:30 on, it was heavy Ruben, and that was the name we wanted. So when he was dropping, he was there. We really thought that was the guy we were getting. So all our reactions initially were like, oh, yeah. I said, Howie, this is effing on you. I said, I'm done. Well, my first reaction was, I'm done, was my initial reaction. And I looked right at the camera and said, Howie, this is effing on you. Blah, 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 blah. And then a minute went by, and I said, you need the ends of winning this league. I remember seeing Barnett play at Tennessee. He can flat out play. Let's pray Joe Douglas is a part of this. But the rest of the crew wasn't buying into it.
Oh, you're not a reactionary guy at all.
Zach Burr was not buying into the pick. Ryan didn't want the pick. Well, Ryan's guy went early in McCaffrey.
Right.
And
You knew he wasn't getting past the
No,
Panthers.
and Carolina is.
That was the worst kept secret ever.
And that is a listen. You can give them a real win for this draft
Yeah.
because when we talk about 10-yard speed and all that kind of stuff, and the offense he's going to with Cam, I think it's dangerous.
And they went back and added Samuel from Ohio State, too, the exact same type player as McCaffrey in the later rounds.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The only thing I would say about Reuben Foster, and I know we've kind of beat this up a little
Yeah.
bit, is thing we said about Joe Mixon a couple weeks ago is if Belichick doesn't want him, I don't want him. Well, with Reuben Foster, if 30 other teams weren't going to take him in the first round, maybe the 49ers have a steal. Maybe the other general managers know something. We'll see.
Yeah, time will tell on all of it. So that's the experience down there.
As somebody actually, because we were talking about, we didn't think Foster would drop to us. Like, it was kind of like a pipe dream, and the fact that he was there and you didn't take him. Somebody actually, because I overreacted as soon as the pick was made, I immediately put out a Facebook post. It was like, basically, F you, Howie Roseman.
Yep.
Like, here we are again. And then a guy commented, and I was like, holy shit, like, he might have hit this spot on. And he said it's almost like they set their draft board, and then when people fell, they were just like, who gives a shit? This is our board.
And it's quite possible.
And made zero adjustments.
I just don't understand why people in this city were surprised because we sat here 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no, you knew he loved him. Yeah.
Right. I mean, we had three guys. We had Dalvin Cook, Reuben Foster, and Derek Barnett. You knew it was going to be one of those three. You were praying that it was Christian McCaffrey, but you knew that he wasn't going to drop to 14. So I understand why people wanted Foster, and I don't have a problem with the people who wanted Foster, but I don't understand why, to anyone else, Barnett was a surprise. Shouldn't have been a surprise. May not have been the sexy pick, but it shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody.
It's not a
See,
surprise.
I know I mocked Barnett to the Saints, but I also never imagined Marshawn Lattimore was
Right.
going to fall that far.
Right.
Well, I mean, even in our mock draft, when the consensus came out, Barnett was a top. Where'd I have him? 11? I think he went 11. in
Yeah,
that
to the
one.
Saints. It's the same place I mocked him.
So, I mean, that's right where we had him. And so it's not a reach, and it's not how he reaching for one. So hopefully that pans out. But let's segue into your little trip, big dog. All right. This little trip's brought to you by, who am I missing here?
Give it to Scans.
Yeah, it's Scanzano Sports. Best in the business. Great freaking facility. Check it out. ScanzanoSports.com is where you can find them. Michael, baseball segues into baseball.
Oh,
I'm going
go
back to Cali.
It's funny. I was gonna.
West Side.
I was gonna.
High Rose was fired.
Howie's got me out the door.
Sean, it's funny because I was going to throw that on the book, but I'd never been there to go once, so I couldn't go
I'm
back.
going.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, who knows?
So
You went there pre-Facebook.
there we go.
Yeah, and I want to eat some Skittles and listen to the story.
So I'll throw this out there for you guys. The purpose of going out there was a business trip. It just, it happened to coincide with a Phillies road trip to Los Angeles. So I flew into San Diego on Tuesday, and I was at an industry event Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday I was supposed to travel home. What I did was I wound up working in my hotel, and I was up, seriously, I was up at, I think it was 4:15 a.m. on Friday. I was up and working and actually done most of what I had to do on Friday before people back here in my office were even working. So I had, if I rewind a little bit, people in my industry, there's two things that they like to do, and it's talk about how great they are and drink their faces off. So Tuesday night, the keynote speaker to open the whole thing was Sugar Ray Leonard. And Sugar Ray Leonard was, as a sports fan, he was cool to watch. But he did a 45-minute motivational speech. This guy, I'm not going to call him a fraud because he's Sugar Ray Leonard. But the bottom line is he needs to be paying Howard Cosell and Howard Cosell's estate and Jim Lampley. That's the guy's name, right? On HBO Sports, Jim Lampley. He needs to be paying him royalties because he had about a 45 to 50-minute motivational speech. I promise you, he had 20 minutes of his own material, and the rest of the presentation was clips of his fights. And
Oh my God!
And what he would do is he would show a clip of his fight and then come back and explain how he overcame the odds and this and that and all this shit. But the best part of it is you hear Cosell.
He's wearing his own jersey.
Oh, he was wearing his own jersey. But you hear Cosell, during the fight scenes, Sugar Ray Leonard has got the heart of a champion. He's the intestinal fortitude of this guy. Cosell sold him more than he could ever sell himself. And then the later fights in his career, it was Jim Lampley doing the same damn thing. I have a new appreciation for Cosell and Jim Lampley, and I just think Sugar Ray Leonard's stealing money. God bless him for doing it, but hey, it is what it is. So anyway, I see Sugar Ray Leonard, honest to God, from no more than 15 feet away on Tuesday night. So that's pretty badass. Go to a big old industry party Tuesday night. Wednesday is balls to the wall work all day. But at 5:30, it's literally party, party, party until 2 a.m. Get up Thursday, and you got to go balls to the wall work again. But now it's Thursday, and I know it's a draft night. And I know the draft is starting at 5 o'clock out there. So I'm like, all right, how can I be done this night early? So I went through the full day of meetings and sessions and everything like that. And instead of going to their closing night party, which they rented an amusement park across the street from SeaWorld, and it was basically an amusement park with open bar, which would have been cool, except that I would have had 12 beers, gone on a roller coaster, puked my guts out, and been miserable for the rest of the trip. So I blew off the closing night party, went and had dinner with a former coworker of mine who now lives in San Diego, got back to the hotel, and I was in the room watching the draft, and I was dialed in. So this was sweet. So I actually got in front of a TV 3 picks after the Eagles. So I caught most of the back half of the first round, and that's when I think I threw out there to somebody on social media. It was just seeing Philly that way was phenomenal. And then, like I said, talking to people out there, everybody was just saying how Philly was off the chain and everything like that. So go to sleep Thursday night, get up super early Friday, knock out just about everything I have to do. Now, mind you, I'm in San Diego. I've never seen the Pacific Ocean. So I actually hop in the rental car, drive over the Coronado Bay Bridge, which may very well be the highest bridge I've ever been on in my life. Scared shitless driving over this bridge. Go into Coronado Island, which is beyond beautiful. have breakfast at this old like 50s style diner with the little jukeboxes on the tables and everything. They had like the counter, which was like a big U-shaped counter with everybody sitting around the counter, and they had jukeboxes on the counter. Come over, pouring your coffee right there and stuff like that. Big sign as you walk in the door, like on a chalkboard. And it said something like, if you're single, sit at the counter and mingle, like instead of taking a table. But this is like it's like a diner in Southern California on a Friday morning. 45-minute wait for a table. So this place was off the chain. So I got in there, snuck in there, got a little seat at the counter, had some breakfast, talked to the folks out there, went and drove all the way down south, almost as far south on Coronado as I could go before I was like back on what they would call landlocked. But I went to the beach, got myself some a little Pacific Ocean air, which, by the way, the Pacific Ocean doesn't smell at all. Like, it's just a nice cool breeze, and it's like this deep, dark blue color, but it's not like Jersey. Like, you don't get that sort of, like, thick, salty seashore air.
A lot
like,
of salt. A lot of salt.
But, like,
down
you know
here.
how, you know when, like, when you're driving out to the beach here, you hit that spot
Where you're getting close.
where you have to roll down the windows, and you're just like, it's the ocean. I'm relaxed now. They don't have that out there. But it was still spectacular. So I go back across the bridge, back to the hotel, go into the business center at the hotel, and I go on StubHub. Because at this point now, I've made my decision. I'm going to Los Angeles. Get the flight changed to Sunday, the whole deal. Go on StubHub. I land a ticket like 11 rows behind the Phillies dugout for like $90. I'm going to touch more on that in a little bit because Dodgers fans, I got a problem with that. Go back up to my room, knock out a bunch of work. Then I'm like, all right, Petco Park is right across the street. I can't be in San Diego without trying to get into Petco Park. So I walk across the street, and I'm like walking around the stadium, and I see the pro shop. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in here and get a hat because you know how I roll. I get a hat from every ballpark that I go to. So I go into the pro shop there, and their hat selection was the worst. I mean, San Diego, it is what it is. Get a T-shirt instead of a hat. And I'm talking to the girl, and at this point now, I got on, like, Phillies T-shirt and Phillies hat because I'm about ready to bounce and drive up to L.A. So the girl sees, like, the Phillies gear, and she's like, what's your deal? Are you from Philly or something like that? So I'm like, yeah, I'm about to drive up to L.A. to see the Phillies and Dodgers tonight, but I heard that there's a Tony Gwynn statue here. Is that true? And she's like, yeah, it's in Tony Gwynn Park. I'm like, okay, well, where's Tony Gwynn Park? And she's like, oh, behind the center field fence. And I'm like, well, is there any way that I can get in there? She's like, well, you're not really supposed to, but there's a tour of the ballpark going on right now. So if you just go out that door right there, you can actually go up the steps and walk around the corner. And if the gate's open, just go into the park. Fucking A. All right. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave this at the counter here. Hold on to that. I don't want to pay for it yet. I'm going to go up, and I go out the door, and I'm like all like looking around, stealth mode, trying to make sure there's no security. There's nobody. I'm like, all right. Around the corner, up the steps, bang. I'm in Petco Park. I'm like, this is phenomenal. So they had the one section behind center field where they had the quote-unquote the beach was gated off. So I couldn't actually get into a seating area. But when you watch the Padres games, you see that they have like the beach in center field. They have the big palm tree there, and then there's like that grassy area right behind there. That's where I was. So in that grassy area there, they have like a little miniature wiffle ball diamond that little kids play wiffle ball on during the games. Then they have this huge hill that is manicured like infield grass. It's outstanding. So I walk up to the top of this hill, and I'm looking, and I'm like, you could just sit here on this hill and watch a ball game. And like, I don't know how much you have to pay to get into the park, like, during games. But that, I mean, now granted, the home plate's probably 500 feet away. But the sight line was phenomenal. So, of course, I start snapping off pictures. I'm like, I'm at Petco Park. Snap off a bunch of pictures. Turn around, boom, there's a Tony Gwynn statue. I'm like, one of the best 3 hitters that ever lived. There he is. So I go get my picture of the Tony Gwynn statue, and I'm like looking around. And I'm like, all right, what else can I get into here? Now I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to try to walk around and get into the park on the first base side. Nabbed. Like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get back to the pro shop. Pro shop's on the left field side, not the right field side. I'm like, oh, my bad. Turn, like walk, go back to the pro shop. Go pay for my stuff. Back to the hotel, throw everything in the car. Boom, I'm out. So the drive from San Diego to Los Angeles may very well be one of the coolest things that I've ever done.
Pacific Coast Highway?
Exactly. Yeah. Instead of going up the 5, which would have got me there in probably 2.5 hours, I literally went, just back-roaded it from downtown San Diego to Mission Beach. And I go through Mission Beach, Pacific Beach, La Jolla, and you're on like basically like these little town streets, but you look down the side streets to your left, and the side streets are maybe 3-4 houses long, and they're all on like an incline, and you look at the bottom of the hill, and there's the beach in the Pacific Ocean, and it's a beautiful, bright, brilliant day, and you're just driving, and every side street you see, ocean, 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 beach, beach. And then you start kind of going up hills a little bit, and you look off sort of diagonally, and you're looking down side streets, and you're seeing like mountains that are spilling into the ocean and stuff like that. And, I mean, it's just off the hook. Go through La Jolla, and I'm driving through La Jolla probably, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon, and every beautiful woman in California was out shopping in La Jolla that day, driving their Beamers and their Mercedes and their Bentleys and everything like that. So, of course, I slow down as I'm going through La Jolla. But then you come through La Jolla, you go past the University of California, San Diego. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous campus. Like, every person there, male and female, was like the beautiful people. But as soon as you get past that, you hit Torrey Pines. This golf course, I shit you not, like,
love it,
is amazing. And I'm driving by it, and I'm driving by it like 20 miles an hour, and it's probably about a mile long. It's not very wide, and I'm guessing, I don't know the golf terminology, but I'm guessing they play it as a links course, where the fairways are narrow and everything just plays up onto a small green. But you can see from Pacific Coast Highway clear across the golf course down to the rocks and the ocean, and the views are just spectacular. So you go through Torrey Pines, and then you're hitting like Del Mar, Sonoma, Encinitas, Carlsbad, like all these just awesome little California beach towns. You hit Camp Pendleton, and then you got to get on the highway. Oh, my God. I now know what L.A. traffic is like because the whole trip, like I got on the highway at Camp Pendleton. I get through Camp Pendleton, and then you start hitting like towns on the other side of the base, and the base is huge. Well, I told Tommy this. Anyone that says that Anaheim and the Dodgers are like crosstown rivals are full of shit because Anaheim is a freaking hike from Dodger Stadium. In Friday afternoon traffic, they were a good 2.5 hours apart. I mean, it was literally, for me, it was like 2.5 hours from San Diego to Anaheim and 2.5 hours from Anaheim to Dodger Stadium. Mm-hmm. I didn't even check into the hotel before I went to the game. I literally was just driving up the highway, and I'm looking at the clock, like as I'm driving up the highway, and I'm like, forget going to the hotel. I'm just going right to the stadium. I get to Dodger Stadium, and it's enormous. So I, like, take out my phone, and I do, like, rock a wiki on Dodger Stadium. I'm like, seating capacity is 55,000. And I'm like, that's it? It's an enormous, enormous stadium. Like, how does it only seat 55,000?
Yeah, it looks bigger than it is.
Well, but here's the thing, though. It is that big, but it was also built, like, in the 60s, and they haven't, I'll call it, cheaped out since then. Seats are enormous. And all of the field level seats, so like their dugout club, their diamond club, and then the what they call field level, all these just big, wide, padded seats. I mean, it was the most comfortable I've ever been at a baseball game. And it was just,
That's big.
It's
Having
great.
some space when you're sitting down. It's too
Yeah.
many.
but then,
Too
much
but
now
then here
being
was
I'd
the
rather
thing.
out for that.
So Saturday night when I went back, I sat loge level, which was like the next level up, thinking, okay, so I'm moving off of field level. The seats are probably going to be smaller. Nope, same thing. Big, huge, wide seats, like just so comfortable. But
Gotta have the celebrities comfortable at the
yeah,
end.
there you go. But Dodger Stadium was incredible. Dodger dogs are the real deal. They are fantastic hot dogs. The beer selection there is great because, I mean, a lot of the Mexican beers and stuff like that, the views are unbelievable. You look out and you got, like, the palm trees and the mountains and everything in the background. But what was crazy, what I was telling Tommy on the phone is Chavez Ravine is basically a ravine right in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. And it's like, it looks like what they did was they just found a hole in the ground, built these enormous parking lots, rebuilt what amounts to a huge hill in the middle of it, and dropped Dodger Stadium right on the hill. So what happens is you have like these city streets that sort of go around the outside of Chavez Ravine, and one layer off of that, you have a road that goes all the way around called Stadium Way. So there's these side streets that lead from like the city streets up into Stadium Way, and they all have houses on them. And I'm like, and I was like thinking about it. I'm like, I couldn't fathom living like 200 yards from Citizens Bank Park and just having people have to drive right by my house, literally by my driveway, to get into the ballpark. And the parking is immense. Like, and obviously it's a thing like it's Los Angeles. Like, not a lot of people use mass transit. And it didn't seem like there was a lot of mass transit in that area other than buses. But it's a 55,000-seat stadium, and they probably have parking for 40,000 cars. I mean, the parking lots are just enormous. But they're all downhill. So it's like you drive in, you go up the hill to the stadium, you hit Stadium Way, and they'll tell you, you know, go left, go right, whatever. And they direct you into these parking lots. You have to drive back down the hill to get into the parking lot. And then, you know, they have people that will direct you right into a spot. They just line them up one after the other after the other. But then you have to walk back up to like these ramps to go up the hill to then cross over Stadium Way and go up more hills to get into Dodger Stadium. So it's a shit ton of walking, but the views are spectacular.
Now, Stadium Way, is that what they renamed for Vin Scully? Or
No,
is there
that was the backside of – that's a great question. The backside of Chavez Ravine is called Elsian Park, and it was Elsian Park Way that they renamed Vin Scully Drive. The technical address for Dodger Stadium is 1000 Vin Scully Drive,
Oh, okay.
which is really cool. But now getting to the games themselves, Dodgers fans, frauds, complete frauds. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to baseball. Okay? I'm sure there's a certain population of them that do, but they ooh and ah every time a ball goes in the air. Guy takes a swing, it could be a pop-up to like shallow center, and they ooh and ah because they think balls are going out of the ballpark. And they just have this like weird affection, I guess, for like
Leaving early?
well, no. I was going to say, like, for guys that, like, the rest of baseball are just kind of like, like a guy like Andrew Toles. Like, he's their leadoff hitter, and he's a solid ball player. He gets one of the loudest ovations on that team. And it's like, who the hell's Andrew Toles? Like Yasmani Grandal. He's their 4-hitter. Oh, he's the cleanup hitter. He must be the best hitter in their lineup. He sucks.
It's my fantasy first baseman.
No, there you go. But then, flip side is like, their number one prospect, Cody Bellinger. Oh, who's this guy? How do you not know who your number one prospect is?
Do a little freaking homework, you know?
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Walk into
Sports
that one.
fandom on the West Coast, it's a whole different animal.
There's too much other shit to do.
It's like going to the beach.
Well, and here's the thing, and you're right, but here's the thing. Like, they always joke on the Phillies broadcast about the late arriving LA crowd. Absolute, complete, 100% truth. Friday night, that game started at 7:10 out there. It was empty until probably 7:45. And then all of a sudden, like, it started filling in. Now, I'm sure LA traffic has a lot to do with that, but it is a late arriving crowd. And then Saturday, they're losing. Sixth inning, people just gone. I mean, like, and Saturday night was the night that the Dodgers went back to back to back in the bottom of the ninth to tie the game and then wound up winning it. Like, all three of those homers were bombs. It wasn't a doubt about any of them. And then Dodger Stadium's a tough place to hit a home run. It's weird because I actually got some education while I was out there. So they have the Santa Ana winds that come off the desert over the mountains. And even on a day when the wind is blowing out, a lot of times what happens is the wind will bounce off the mountains in the ravine and cause there to be what they call a back current. So the flags look like they're blowing out, but the ball still doesn't carry. It's only 395 to dead center there. Like, it ain't me. Well, definitely not me.
Not me.
But
I just hit mine.
We got a car alarm going off outside the studios.
Maybe it's none of us.
Or maybe it's mine on the Toyota.
Yeah, there it is. The old school one.
Yeah.
You
you
know what I
go.
mean? The old school one, a handgun to the back of your head.
Oh, yeah, so,
B-Ride alarm.
A little bit of your kneecap.
yeah, so it's funny, but the ball doesn't really carry there much at all. And it was crazy because Friday night, Justin Turner hit two balls that on what I would call a normal day were bombs that should have been out of there and didn't leave. Yet Brock Stassi went Oppo Taco to deep left center Friday night. So I'm thinking if he hits that ball at the bank, it's a no doubt about it. The next night, you had Andrew Knapp hit his first major league home run. What was funny about that was Bellinger hit a home run in, I think it was the bottom of the fifth, and then Knapp hit his in the top of the sixth. So you had two guys hit their first major league home run within about 5 minutes of each other, which was pretty cool. But, yeah, Dodgers fans, complete frauds. Absolute frauds. I know people that live here that are Dodgers fans that are better Dodger fans than the ones in California. But the stadium experience was absolutely amazing. Just, I highly recommend. It's, for me, it's, and I've been to a lot of stadiums. It's top three. I still say number one is Pittsburgh. Number two, Wrigley. Dodger Stadium is easily number three for me. Fenway drops down a spot. Just because there's not a bad seat in the house at all. Everything's comfortable. Everything's accessible. You walk around on the concourse to, like, get food or go to the bathroom or grab a beer, souvenir or something. You could see the game from everywhere. They built bars over top of the bullpens, which was really, really cool. Like, literally just walk in the bar and you just, like, look over and you're like, oh, wow, it's Phillies bullpen. Okay. I guess because people out there are chill. They don't throw shit in the bullpens.
Yeah.
But what was funny was Friday night, so like I said, I was sitting like 11 rows behind the Dodgers dugout. I was in field level, but I wasn't in like the dugout club or whatever. But I walked down to the bottom of my aisle, and as the Phillies were coming off the field after batting practice, Matt Stairs was like walking right at me. So I was like, I yelled, I'm like, hey, Matt. And he looked up, and I just pointed out to right field, and I said, thanks for 2008. And he just, like a nod and a big smile. And I'm like, wow, I actually got a reaction out of Matt Stairs. That's awesome. Got a little TV time Friday night. So it was like the second inning or something like that. All of a sudden, my phone started blowing up with like texts and people telling me that I had been on TV.
Huh.
I wound up, a couple people sent me screenshots of the, I guess it was between innings during the broadcast, and then on Sportsnet Central the next morning, one of their like lead-ins after a break was like how many Phillies fans were in L.A. Friday night, and there was a couple shots of me on screen, so it was pretty cool. Saturday was Hollywood, which I went to Griffith Park, and I went up to the observatory, checked out the Hollywood sign. in full-on Phil's gear, which was pretty sweet. Did they lose?
No, not yet.
All right.
It's 5-4. Herrera just struck out.
So
Franco's having a good night.
Yeah.
Finally hitting on the road.
There we go. And then I was going to hit Pink's Hot Dogs, but everyone out there told me that Pink's is like the L.A. equivalent, like Pat's or Geno's. It's nothing more than a tourist spot, and the food sucks. So I'm like in Hollywood, and at this point, like I'm starving because I'd had Dodger dogs at the game Friday night, and now it's like 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. I haven't eaten anything yet. I'm like, all right, I need some food. Take out the phone, and I'm like, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Los Angeles. And first thing it brings up is Fat Sal's, which is owned by Jerry Ferrara from Entourage. I'm like, East Coast sandwiches in L.A., done and done. So I roll in there, and I get me a Fat Jerry. So Fat Jerry was a cheesesteak, chicken fingers, mozzarella sticks, bacon, fries, and a fried egg.
All on the sandwich?
All on one sandwich.
That's phenomenal.
And it was outstanding. I mean, it was huge too. I mean, it was a full on, normal sized cheesesteak. But I crushed this thing. And then I didn't eat again until like the 8th inning of the ball game. It was like literally like the 8th inning. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, I'm a little hungry. I'm like, well, maybe it's because you haven't eaten anything since Fat Jerry at like 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm like, all right, I'll knock down another Dodger dog before I leave. No problem. But, yeah, great experience. LAX is a clusterfuck. If anybody ever tells you differently, they're lying. It's a huge airport. There's about 1 million people that go through there every day. But I wasn't about to drive back down to San Diego to fly home. So I actually wound up flying back out of LAX and got back into Philly. And it was funny. We were flying back in, and we were, like, on schedule to be, like, an hour early. And we wound up having to circle a bunch of times before we could land. And actually told us that the reason that we had to circle is that they had a bunch of smaller private jets that were trying to take off from the airport. And I guess there was so much air traffic coming into Philly that they couldn't all get routed through Northeast Philly, which is where the private jets usually go. So they actually had to have private jets landing at Philly International with people that were in town for the draft. So they had a bunch of private jets and smaller commuter planes. Had a heavier flight schedule than usual coming out of there on Sunday. So it took us a little while to get back in. And when I got back in Sunday night, the airport was still just completely just decked out in like draft stuff, like everywhere. And I was just like, man. Like, I had one of the best weekends of my life. 2 bucket list items, Pacific Coast Highway, Dodger Stadium. Got to sneak into Petco a little bit, and it was outstanding. But, yeah, there was a little part of me that wished I was back for the draft. I'm not even going to lie about it. But so I think Petco now may have to be the next park, though, because now that I've been in there, I want to see it.
Nah, you got to get it, see the
get
guy
a
toe to
game.
rubber.
Yeah.
See the guy freaking toe to rubber in there.
No doubt. So appreciate you giving me the time to share that experience.
Yeah, brother.
It's not often that you get to knock out 2 bucket list items on one day, which it's still one of the top 5 days of my life. Absolutely unbelievable. And highly recommended to anybody who's traveling the West Coast, like Robbie said, Pacific Coast Highway. If you have an opportunity to drive, the historic 101. If you have any opportunity to drive up or down 101, just go for it, man. It's just the visual is unbelievable, absolutely unreal.
Bob Hartman chiming in that LA's ripping everybody.
Yeah,
And
good for LA.
I asked him what about.
So I got the hat because it's what I do, and I would say it's for Larry Anderson.
Said he talked about the Phillies having quotes little league inning in the field. The bullpen is horrible and can't find the strike zone. And then when they do find the strike zone, the umpires don't call strikes. He said if you want the game to speed up, then the ump has to call strikes when they are clearly strikes. Vinny Massington says the sandwich sounds good. That's the guy you got a contact for the Stream Smart that we talked about earlier. Tell him we did. Tell him we did, boys. Like twice already, if not 3
DM
times.
talk.
Slide in my DMs. Get the HUD promo code. Send you over to Vinny. Get you your Stream Smart all hooked up. Take care of you. Get all the freaking games you want. Everything you want we got you covered.
We're getting
with
the countdown.
That. Doug Zeke, in terms of your sandwich, fat bastard crying marks. Love you, Mike. And then
No, it was called a Fat Jerry.
Bob Hartman said he went on a little rant about catching losses from the jaws of victory. Yep.
All right.
That sounds like the Phillies. And then Vinny, my man, about the string store. That's 3 times, if not 4. We'll give you a fifth
right.
before we're out of here. We're going to segue into Adam Jones and call it a
All
night.
right. Yeah, we'll do Adam Jones.
All night after Adam Jones. So, I mean, you know, people might not heard, you know, my take on it yesterday.
Which, by the way, you knocked out of the park.
Thank you.
No question.
Thank you. Sometimes it's hit or miss. You know, I thought I really battled 2 strikes and, you know, let one get in there and get that barrel out.
I didn't think that was 2 strikes. I thought that was first pitch fastball.
Just sitting on a fastball. It was easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was common sense. I mean, it's 2017. Can we knock off the racism bullshit? Can we not treat players like this? Like, if you want to heckle players, that's fine. Do it in a fun manner.
Right.
You don't heckle players by throwing shit at them or by racial slurs or any of that bullshit, okay? You go to a baseball game, you watch the baseball game, you enjoy it with family, you go home, you go to bed. Okay, that should be every sporting event. The extra sporting events is bullshit and childish, and the MLB should nail them right in their fucking pockets. Oh, you want to, like Adam Jones said, you want to throw shit on the field? $10,000. You want to do racial slurs and get out of the game? $10,000. And guess what? People are going down to ballparks.
Season ticket holder revoked.
And people will really think about what they're doing. And you don't even want these kind of people down at the ballpark.
No.
Well, I don't want these guys around children.
They got to be fined and banned. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, we dealt with that here last year with the guy throwing a beer bottle at Ryan Howard, and now he's our home team player. So, okay, maybe the guy is getting old and should have retired a year sooner or whatever, but you don't throw shit on the field. And you certainly don't do it in your home stadium. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
No, you definitely don't.
No, 100%. There's got to be a better – there's not really a time and place for that. But no, like when Barry Bonds was here in the middle of all his steroid thing, like, us is Philadelphia. Of course we did. We made foam fingers of needles. Like, that shit's funny.
Right.
Like, mess with them about that, but don't go out there calling anybody the N-word. Because then you're going to turn around and cheer for the Celtics the next day, and then Isaiah Thomas is your hero. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny because I had said yesterday, I said, these people that were dropping the N-word on Adam Jones were the same people a month ago that were cheering for him when he was on fire in the WBC.
Oh, yeah,
because
100%.
he was playing for the United States.
Listen, the guy's a better person than he even is a baseball player. And there's no room for that. Okay? Even if a guy's a piece of shit, there's no room for racial slurs.
No.
You want to say,
call him a piece of shit, yeah.
You're a piece of shit.
Oh, it's 2017.
Fine.
People just need to grow up.
Grow up, go to the game, enjoy the game, go home, and go to bed. I mean, it's really that simple.
And I'll tell you, I was watching MLB Network last night, and the guys were talking about the 3 worst cities to play in terms of racial tension or whatever. And he said the 3 worst cities were Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia. And that made me sad because I mean,
who said that?
It was guys on MLB Network.
I don't believe Philly's in there, but that's fine.
But
Maybe tell plates to come because we'll heckle you. I don't know. I haven't heard racial.
You know what? I believe
slurs.
it. I do believe it because I could see a lot of
Idiots.
old school
tough guys.
Tough guys.
Yeah.
That want to go out there and drop the N-bomb.
Yeah, I feel like you really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're cool now, dude.
Right, and
you're
then,
cool.
you know,
instead of just saying, "Hey, Mookie, you stink."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he doesn't, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the heckling
Well,
that I
what
grew
it
up
is
around. Not
right. It's these. You know what it is? No, it's these guys that are like in their late 50s, early 60s. They have no creative smack talk in their body whatsoever. So they resort to the only thing that they knew as a kid, and that was racism, and that's bullshit.
Nah,
and if it happens near me, I'm gonna dime you out. I'm gonna watch you get thrown out, and I'm gonna kick you in the shins on the way out because I don't deal with that.
No, Bob, we didn't say that. We didn't suggest that making owners take control of their parks the way they do in soccer across the Atlantic, make the home team play in front of an empty stadium.
I've
because
seen a
of
couple
racial
people
slurs and
suggest
violence.
that. It's tough because of the revenue.
Yeah, they won't do
But
that.
Yeah, and what you're gonna punish 38,000 people because of 5
Yeah,
people?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not fair. I mean, it's not fair for any of it. It's
No,
not fair
yeah.
for players to get heckled like that. It's not fair for them people to be in a ballpark around children and other
Yup.
people who don't promote any of that bullshit. And listen, once they're kicked out once for something like that, in my opinion, they're not allowed back in that stadium.
Right.
No,
Ever.
100%.
Ever.
Nope.
Ever. You throw something on a baseball field or any field that can hurt a player of any sort, you're never allowed back in that stadium. And that's how owners can take control of this and really do a better job of like, okay, what did this guy get kicked out for? What did this person get kicked out for? And suspend people from coming to the ballpark if it's not too egregious. Or, hey, guess what? I'm going to fine you like I fine players.
Right, but and to me though,
Now, that could be a little,
right, but this is a micro.
Yeah.
It's a microcosm.
Stepping into a whole nother thing.
yeah.
Right, but it
oh,
is.
You drank a beer too quick.
Yeah. But it's a microcosm of a bigger problem, and it's that you look at the African Americans in baseball, and the number is dwindling over the years. Still basketball, still football, an increased number in hockey, but a decreased number in baseball. Why? Number one, because it's not the look at me sexy sport that the NBA and the NFL are. But number two, you got this shit going on. And kids these days won't deal with it. They'll go play another sport before they deal with the racism. And I left you the SI from this week with the article about Hunter Green. It's a kid from Los Angeles. Throws a .02 as a pitcher. And he's also like the most prolific offensive shortstop in the country right now. But he dealt with that as a 9-year-old, where there was one of the first paragraphs of the story is some old guy watching him play a Little League game just decided to yell out, hey, why is that N-word playing shortstop? Like, we don't need to deal with that in 2017. It's ridiculous.
Nope.
And if you have that kind of thought process,
Go jump off a fucking
and you
bridge.
can't keep it to yourself when you go out in public, stay the fuck home.
Shoot yourself right in the fucking face. Really, just shoot yourself square in the face and do us all a favor. Do everybody a favor. I have no time. I have no time for any of that. I don't have time for racial bullshit. I have time for you're a scumbag. You're a scumbag. You're a great dude. You're a great dude. That's how it works out. Okay, white, black, it doesn't fucking matter. You know, if a guy's a piece of shit, he's a piece of shit. He's not a piece of shit because of color of his skin. He's not a piece of shit because of his ethnic background, where he's from. None of that.
You're
okay?
you're not allowed to call Howie cheap anymore.
No, but that's a different story.
It is a different story.
Yeah, they're known for that. But
It's not stereotype if it's true. No.
that one's true. The rest, no.
Jesus Christ.
The rest, no.
Kill me now.
But no, there's no room for it. And like I said, he's a great dude. Like, why does he have to deal with that?
Yeah.
Because his team's playing good baseball?
Right.
You know, why do you have to deal with that?
And
You're right. Kids will give up playing that sport if they feel like they're on an island out there all by themselves with no protection. Because, you know, I watch Yelich and Ozuna warm up, and first off, they have a blast out there warming up. Like,
Yeah.
Yelich is great to watch warm up. Like, he's doing 3-step drops like a quarterback, and Ozuna's, like, shaking it to the music. I mean, they have a good time out there, them too. Robbie saw that.
He literally threw it about 50 yards from his knees, too. You could tell he was a former catcher growing up.
Nice.
Yeah, Yelich is cool. They two look like they have a good time out there. It made me like them a lot more, you know,
Right.
that they actually get along with each other and have fun, like when they're just warming up. It felt like they were like kids just enjoying the game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's all-
When you see that at the big league level, it's like, oh, okay, that's awesome.
Well, that's probably the best part of their job.
Yeah.
Is when they actually finally get to play the game. You
yeah.
know?
The rest of it's all crazy and too much probably at
Yeah.
times, but the point where they can just
Right.
But that's the thing, like just go out and play. And that's the best part of their day. It should be.
Oh, yeah.
It shouldn't be the extra.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a heckle, yes. And all that, that's fun. And if you can't deal with a heckle, then you shouldn't be a
Then don't
professional
be playing,
athlete.
yeah.
But there's a line where you draw a line on that, and anything over that line, you're not welcome in
No,
ballparks.
you just got to use some common sense, too. I mean, if you're at a baseball game, more so than hockey, basketball, and football because of the ticket prices. But when you're at a baseball game, it's the most affordable sport that you can watch, which means it's going to be the one where you have the most kids. If you're at a baseball game and you're about to drop an F-bomb or an N-bomb or just lose your shit over anything, take a look to your left or your right because there's probably a kid sitting within 5 feet of you. Just get a fucking clue. Use some
all.
common sense.
It's nothing new. I mean, you saw it back in the 60s when Maris was chasing the home run, single season home run record. You had guys throwing chairs at him. You know, you can't come close to the babe. You're not a yeah. Unfortunately, things like this, it's a small microcosm of what's going on in this country, and that there's just a faction of old thinkers that don't get with it in the modern times, and they're scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
I mean, we
Vinny,
talk a lot of shit on this show, but I don't think any of us would ever walk into a ballpark and ever drop a racial slur or an F-bomb.
I'm a couple things. I don't drop none of that. I'm not a booer.
I'm a booer.
I go and watch
I'm a
the game.
booer.
I go and watch the game. I don't believe in the boo. I think the boo is you stink. It's better. I'm not a boo. I'm just not a boo bird.
Well, no, you know what?
I'm not a boo bird. It's fine. I used to be a heavy boo.
No, I'm a football booer.
That's different. Like the football boo goes with it. Like baseball boo.
No, I don't boo baseball.
And the guy had a bad at bat last about I'm going to boo him.
No,
it's a hard game.
You talking your
like what?
You talking your own team or even the visitors?
No, like I don't even like booing the visitor.
Yeah.
I'd rather just sit quietly.
I like what the Flyers do when they announce things and everybody goes, "You suck."
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
Yeah.
Like that's cool. The boo's like, I feel like the boo's time. It's past.
It's going along with the wave.
You know, like the boo was hot. In
That's
Philly
another
for a while.
thing about Dodger Stadium: the wave and beach balls.
Yeah.
Crumbs. It's Crumbsy's feet.
Oh, absolutely.
Occasional beach ball's fun though.
I completely forgot about that. Both nights, the wave.
Especially in Cali. I mean,
Yeah.
For a while.
But listen, Vinny says
Let him
white
roll.
players probably deal with similar things. I'm sure, and we know Latino players probably deal with it. So I mean, it's probably not just Adam Jones. I mean, I'm sure this goes on more and more. And
He's probably right.
And some guys probably just don't say nothing because they don't feel like dealing with the extra. You know, a lot of that. They have thick skin and they're just like, "Oh, screw these people."
But you know what, Dan?
But still, it's not right.
yeah, like Boston media coming out saying, "Well, prove it. Show."
Prove what?
Come on,
dude?
yeah,
We got to get video. Like Steve Morantz. Oh, show us the video. I ain't showing that fucking video, dude. I ain't showing a video of some guy calling a guy an N-word. Are you kidding
bring
me?
attention to people.
Are you
like
freaking
that.
kidding me?
Like
you
when
want
they
to see
run
the
down the
video?
field. Yeah.
All right, you want to see the video? Go to some hick town down south, Daddy, and you can see all the videos you want. All right, not up here.
I don't like to
Not
coin
up
your
here.
expressions.
Coin away.
That guy is a problem.
Big
He's a
time
problem.
Yeah.
I'm not here to point fingers.
But here's the thing.
You're a problem.
Yeah.
People are, and you had that percentage of people out there that want to say he's bullshitting. But the president of the Red Sox himself came out and said they had 34 ejections from that section that night.
He's
So
too
you don't
good of
think-
a guy.
You don't think there was something going on that night?
Listen to Adam Jones.
Yeah.
And tell me if that guy even resembles a piece of shit. That guy's a great dude. He's a great man. Okay? You don't get – just listen to him talk. Listen to things he's done, not only giving back to the community, all the things Adam Jones does. This is a great guy who doesn't need to do this and doesn't need to make it up either.
Well, you know what
okay?
you know
and
what
the only
they-
people who say he's making it up are closet racists.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's who's going to bring
Yeah,
it
you
up.
just
Oh,
don't
he's probably
want it,
making that up. Well, you're a closet racist in my opinion.
You know what
Come on
they-
out, Daddy.
You know what
Come
they
on
say
out.
about Adam Jones,
Come on out.
right?
Yeah, what do they say?
That if he ain't watching baseball, he's listening to baseball.
Yeah.
And if he ain't listening to baseball, he's playing baseball.
Yeah, listen, he's
Love that commercial.
building a great pedigree too.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty cool the relationship with Tony Gwynn too. Never knew that before the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Thought that was really crazy.
I'll never get how.
What are they? How are they tied in?
I don't
Was
know.
it brother? Were they
It
brothers?
might be brothers-in-law or cousins or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Yeah. But
yeah.
But somehow they're tied. So.
Yeah, I'll never get real quick why hometown crowds will, put, disparaging remarks, booing your hometown team. Don't you want to see them succeed? Whether you love or hate the player, you obviously love the team.
Right.
And by detracting from their confidence, I'll never understand that.
Wait, where are you going, Sean?
no. I want Freddie Galvis to get out every
Oh,
time. he
yeah.
steps on the field.
Completely agree.
Hey, he's been your all-best hitter, though. I
right.
know Alex on YouTube pointed that out to you, Tom.
There may be some
said
guys
that?
that are whipping boys.
Alex
but
on YouTube was wondering your thoughts on your boy Freddie Galvis because
Still
he
stinks.
has been tearing
Still,
it
he
up.
still stinks. When he
What about Aaron out there?
I'm still not.
We were thinking about adding both on FDN. I was like, what's going down? Is it that many people injured in MLB?
I
I got like an entire team
My
on the
fantasy
DL.
lineup looks like that.
I like.
Everyone's.
I don't hate Freddie as a player, but his plate discipline's terrible, and you can't have an on-base percentage under 300 and be a big leaguer in my eyes, continuously and consistently, and that's who he's been. And until you prove me differently on that for a little bit of time, I'm not buying into this little stretch right now. And Aaron Altair, looks good.
On a tear.
Playing good. But again, consistency. We've seen stuff over a month of baseball and guys fizzle. So, give me consistency. Baseball's all about longevity. It's not about what you did the first month of the season individually or as a team. It's about a body of work. And right now they both body of work are better. But Freddie Galvis is still right over 300, and he probably went 0 for tonight if I would assume. And that on-base percentage is down under 300. And guess what? The guy never walks. You can't be in a big league lineup every day and never walk. You just can't.
Nah.
Unless you're hitting 45 home runs and your on-base percentage is 480 because you rake. That's the only way. Got to be able to walk a little bit.
Yeah, and I take back what I said about Galvin. I don't root for him to get out every time.
I do.
I just hate when he hits a home run.
Yeah, home runs bother me too.
Freddie Galvis 0 for 2, 1 walk.
Oh, I'm a freaking fraud. Now, as soon as I say shit, guys do stuff too.
Actually, I know, Robbie, you got to wrap us up, but we got on YouTube, Alex Ocasio. Out of curiosity, where's Citizens Bank Park on that list? Top 10, top 15, definitely top 10.
Top 10.
It's probably like 6 or 7, no question.
Yeah.
Great park for the fans.
Yeah,
Great park.
Absolutely.
I'm just a little mad they put a Chickies and Pizza in where my speed pitch used to be.
Yeah, you want to show off.
I used to
the
knock
gun.
them catchers down, go in there, flex on for the ladies,
Get your
Good
stretch
Lord.
on. Right?
Get my Fanatic Bucks.
Do your stretches.
Beautiful.
Do your stretches. The whole 9. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Great time. Great show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can go back and listen here, YouTube. We're everywhere. The best in the business. You can hashtag it no goddamn notes for another edition. I don't know what I'm saying.
It is an episode.
Episode, edition, whatever you want, however you want to slice it. Of Tom,
Mike,
AM,
and the PM.
ATDRadio.com. For Tom Arnone, Michael Matarak, Sean Redden, Rob Povey on the ones and twos. Thank you all for listening. I'd like to thank Gibson Mayer, LLC, our certified public accountant. Find them on the web, GibsonMayer.com, SportsOutletInc.com, SoapStash LLC. Find them on the web, SoapStash.com. Stream Smart, inbox me, slide on in, get your ATD promo code, BMWAtlanticCity.com, KanzanoSports.com. Thank you, everybody. Like a dealer. We out.
Peace.
Welcome in to the worldwide leader of what? Real Talk, ATDRadio.com.
You're listening to Tom and Mike, AM in the PM, here on ATDRadio.com.